Tuesday morning. There's a lot of Chargers fans who are upset at the result last night. There's a lot of Charger haters who are very, very satisfied with what they watched, because if you hung in there, it was a good game, close game, all the way to the finish. Justin Herbert on consecutive plays gets sacked, which didn't happen the entire night, or I shouldn't say the entire night, but Micah Parsons didn't get a sack the entire night, but all of a sudden when they absolutely needed him, he got a huge play, and then Stephon Gilmore steps in front of a Herbert pass to ice the game for the Dallas Cowboys. Mike McCarthy and the boys all breathing a sigh of relief as they head into their bye week. The Chargers now move on to host the Bears at home, which is another huge traveling circus of a fan base that has a lot of fans up in LA. So I'm sure they are excited to be in silent count on offense at home again next week. But yeah, another loss in a close primetime game for the Chargers.
And I feel like I've seen that loss before from the Chargers. Very similar, same exact style. In fact, it was just a different quarterback who was doing it. Didn't that feel a little bit Phillip Rivers-y to you? And I love the guy, but I mean, how many times was it last second of the game, or have a chance to drive and go down and win a game against the Chiefs or against the Broncos or against somebody, and then there's an interception thrown, and that's just how the game ends.
I never minded it when a quarterback throws an interception at the end of a game, because you're pressing to win a game. Unless you're in a situation where, you know, it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't think the throw or the moment, I'm not going to be overly critical of Justin Herbert.
You got to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah. Well, in this case, the problem to me was the rush was perturbing his ability to play the entire night. Like he was not getting taken to the ground that much, but he was under pressure the entire night. This offensive line did not perform all that well. Their run game was non-existent. And if you're going to have any success, you need to be a more balanced offense than the Chargers were. And even saying all of that, they had a chance to win the game, and they obviously did not.
Yeah, on the other side of the ball, the Cowboys' run game, non-existent as well. Their screen game was off the charts. That worked for them. In fact, Dak Prescott, I'm going to say that may be the best game I've ever seen Dak Prescott play. And I'm not talking about just numbers. I think that was the only time that I ever have watched Dak play and thought, he is not going to lose this game. He is going to win this thing.
Yeah. I mean, I look at what Dak Prescott did in this game, and I think that's as good as he can look. In a tight ball game, they were getting the ball downfield. They did a nice job protecting Dak, by the way, against a very stout pass rush. They were getting to Dak too. Look, that was probably Dak's arguably his best primetime game in a long time.
And he was improvising. Yep. He used his legs. He had his longest run of his career, 19 yards. And in fact, I think was he leading rushing for the Cowboys? I forgot to look at that stat.
He may have, but he didn't throw it to CD Lamb enough.
Yeah, it turns out, I mean, these guys
117 for your fantasy football.
Dude, Vegas is so good at predicting the little things.
Yeah. But CeeDee Lamb had a monster night, and he needed to. Look, you have to keep star receivers happy. And CeeDee Lamb is a Pro Bowler. He's one of the best at his position in the league. He's just being underfed. And with a different quarterback, maybe it would be a different story. But CeeDee Lamb had a big night last night on a big stage. And he reaped some of the benefits. You know, you got Scott Van Pelt sitting on the ESPN Sports Center set that was on the field at SoFi post game, and CeeDee Lamb was a visitor after the game. These receivers love that. This is what they do it for, not only for the catches and playing the game of football, but also for the acclaim, because it's good for their brand. And so CeeDee Lamb had a coming out party, and you knew it was going to happen. Jerry Jones was saying before the game, when he was interviewed, we need to get that guy more involved.
Jerry gave him 88.
He's a really talented receiver.
Gave him that number coming out of the draft because he wanted him to be the next great Dallas wide receiver. I'm looking ahead at the Chargers schedule. It's actually, they're in Kansas City next week, taking on the Chiefs. The following week, they're at home against the Bears.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so no rest for the weary.
So they get the Chiefs next week. With Chargers-Chiefs games are always pretty legendary. And then the Chiefs, who have looked down, by the way, so who knows? It's probably going to be a pretty great game. Then the Bears, then the Jets, then the Lions. Like, that's a tough 4-week stretch outside of the Bears game.
Taylor Swift, though, if she's there. My God.
And it's at
Look out.
Arrowhead.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Yeah, the fans will come alive for the Swift game. There's no question about it. There was a fight pregame. Austin Eckler, I don't know if anybody saw this, but I mean, coming back from injury, it looked like he may not make it to the field because he got absolutely walloped by one of the Cowboys linebackers who was all fired up and swinging punches before this game even took place.
He looked so small.
He got decked. His helmet went flying, and then I forget who it was. It might have been Jackson, but one of the other running backs was right behind him. And as soon as he got hit, he like grabbed them and like pushed them out of the pile. Like, no, we don't want to be in there. This is not for us.
Yeah, what's happening in the NFL? Because this happened in the Niners-Browns game too, where before the game, there's skirmishes on the sidelines between the two teams, whether it's during warm-ups and someone gets in their grill or someone says, hey, yo mama's fat. No, yo mama's ugly. But then there's like a fight that happens before they even start like sanctioned fighting, which is a football game.
I think and TD, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the stat in the stands, not just on the field, but like the stands, there have been more fights over the past couple of years than ever in the history of sports?
Yeah, there was a number that was put out just a few weeks ago that it was up like 1,000% fighting in the stands over the past 5 years. I mean, just in Chicago over the weekend, there was another massive brawl where people were sent to the hospital. It was Chicago fans fighting Chicago fans.
Oh, I saw a video of that. There was a guy who got straight up
laid out.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, just
God.
He got hit blindsided, like kind of from behind on the side of his head.
Yeah.
He just gets rocked.
And I feel like we started noticing this during like coming out of COVID when fans were let back into stands and everyone was like, well, we just can't be trusted anymore. Like we were locked inside for a couple years and now we can't be trusted.
I think the pandemic changed a lot of things. I think people are just more angsty than they've ever been ever. And
but remember, we said
every
like,
profession.
what's it going to take? Someone dying? Well, that's happened this year. Someone has died in one of these fights and we're still seeing it week in and week out.
Oh yeah, that is true.
At the Patriots.
The Patriots,
the Patriots game. That was
completely unrelated to the fight.
Right.
They did the autopsy.
That guy
he just got hit and then happened to die.
That guy had a heart attack. It could have happened anywhere, whether he was just sitting, relaxing peacefully in a chair reading Reader's Digest, or if he was at a Patriots game being punched in the head.
Elevated levels of stress cannot be good for hearts.
At this.
That's all I'm saying.
No, Ben, don't be ridiculous. Are you a doctor?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems very odd. There is something that has obviously changed. I know that we talked about the fact that more and more women are going to the games, and there seems to be a lot of these videos with women who are getting in fights in the stands. And we thought, well, you know what? Maybe it's women who get in an argument somewhere with someone, and then now their man steps in and gets in a fight. I don't know. I mean, this is just we're hypothesizing here, but it does seem like it's oddly more aggressive in the stands than it ever has been before.
Listen, it's a fight in the stands. It's a fight between players on the field, and it's going to be a fight for Brandon Staley to keep his job at the conclusion of this season if he doesn't find a way here to start winning some football games really fast. Because what we saw again last night in primetime was a disappointing loss for the Chargers in a game they could have won. I mean, it just feels like it's happening over and over and over again for Brandon Staley, and for one reason or another. I mean, for years, we were talking about how porous this Chargers defense was, whether it be on third down, stopping teams, getting teams off the field instead of continuing drives, or his run defense being terrible. Now, the defense, it feels like it's playing at a fever pitch this season outside of maybe the Dolphins game. But the unfortunate reality is in tight games, they're not getting wins. I mean, and I'll reference the Dolphins again. That's a high-octane offense. They were in that game the whole way. Their offense helped keep them in that game, and it was a close game and a loss. And it's a lot of it has to do with his own decision-making, and sometimes not. I won't necessarily blame Brandon Staley for the game last night, but this team is not prepared to win close games.
And it happened again last night where Derwin James twice had stupid penalties called on him. One was an unnecessary roughness, hitting a guy late out of bounds, and one was hitting the quarterback late. Now, the quarterback late, that was questionable call. I think the refs have gotten a little loose with that one. But it seems like once per game, Derwin James has a bad penalty. And usually it's something hitting the head of a receiver defenseless or hitting someone late out of bounds. And it's cost them because it happened on third down last night. And it's like, okay, you're in a situation where you're able to almost turn the Dallas Cowboys over, and then a stupid penalty gives them an easy first down.
Mhm.
And I haven't looked at the numbers deep on it, but it seems like every time I've turned on a Chargers game this year, Derwin James is going to be getting hit with some penalty that's avoidable.
Yeah, Brandon Staley. I didn't see any questionable calls last night either.
Stuck with the fourth downs.
Yeah,
he's going for it.
Yeah, and and it was working for him. So I mean, I guess if there was things that didn't go the Chargers' way, then you would start to question it. But I mean, that offense should be able to score more points. They really should. There's a lot of names there. There's a lot of talent, and the Dallas defense pretty much was held in check until right at the end of the game when they needed to step up.
Yeah. I look again. There's a clutch gene in players. There's a clutch gene in teams. I guess you can't call it a gene when it's shared amongst different players around an organization, and it starts with belief. When you're a team that believes you're going to win in clutch time, you will. I mean, you have to have that perspective in order to have success in games like this. But there's this, here we go again, feeling that I get when I watch the Chargers. And I know that having played in many games on many different teams, there are certain teams where it feels like no matter the odds, you have a chance. And there are certain teams that I played on where you felt like, yeah, even if we have a lead, everything is on thin ice because it doesn't matter. We find a way to screw it up. And that's a terrible feeling, especially when you're playing against good competition and they're playing well, because Dallas Cowboys, that was a good game. That was probably, again, to follow up Sunday Night Football, one of the better primetime games we got to watch.
Yeah.
And it was an even battle. You felt like both these teams were in the fight the whole way.
It was back and forth.
Yeah.
No, that was a good watch. That was a good one.
Dallas tried the tush push.
Yeah, they did.
Not successfully.
No, they did not. They did not have success.
How about Troy Aikman just laughing at it too? He's like, Philadelphia's figured it out. No one else could freaking do it.
Well, here's the deal. You have a Hall of Fame center. You have a road grader offensive line, and you have a quarterback who's arguably one of the strongest skill position players in the league. So, of
Joe
course,
Buck described him as big and thick.
He's big and thick and bad, man. But yeah, not Justin Fields. Jalen Hurts is one of the strongest QBs to ever play in the National Football
League. It's not fair. It's not fair. Ban it.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
I agree.
I was kidding.
I know, but it should be banned.
Why?
It's not a football play. It's a rugby play.
What are you talking about? Of course it's a football play. They're snapping it.
Yeah.
You have offensive linemen pushing defensive linemen out of the way. Imagine if you put a running back in at quarterback, people would have no problem with it. But because it's Jalen Hurts and he's the only quarterback who can do it, everybody's whining. It's just stupid. Find a way to stop it. Just find a way to stop it. And I'll tell you right now, the 49ers can. And I think that's the reason why you're really upset.
Yeah,
I'm going to continue to whine about it because it's not a football play. It benefits one team.
You know better.
It could benefit every team. Every team
not
could do it.
Every team has a freaking superhero at quarterback who outsquats his center.
Why is that Philadelphia's fault?
It's not their fault. They're taking advantage of a rule. I don't blame Philly for this.
I don't think they're taking advantage of a rule. I think they're just using the talent they have in a play that's legal
to make 3rd and 2s, 4th and 2s to 4th and 1s to 3rd and 1s irrelevant in the NFL.
Really quick, play this sound of Herbert throwing the final pick, and then I want to rehash something that you said earlier. Here's Justin Herbert on his final play of the night. In just a moment. So Stephen Gilmore steps in front of a Herbert pass. He intercepts Justin, and that's how the Chargers lose. And it feels like there's a different way every night. Sometimes it's a head coach's fault. I prefer when it's settled on the field, like where it's not a bad decision being made from the sideline, where it's a player going for something and it doesn't work out. However, you mentioned it, Ben. Are there shades of Phillip Rivers with Justin Herbert, or is he somehow the Chargers going to exercise those demons at some point during the Herbert career and end up winning a Super Bowl? I mean, can you win a Super Bowl with this quarterback? That's the question that everybody asks when they draft the guy.
And I feel the same way about Justin Herbert that I did about Phillip Rivers. The answer is yes, you can absolutely win with this quarterback. But you need other things around the building. And I don't know what it is. Is it an issue that we saw with the Padres this year where it's maybe a culture issue from the top down? The Chargers have had the same GM for a long time. And I know Tom Telesco. I like the guy, but he's been there for a long time, longer than a lot of GMs stick around with as many losing seasons, not losing, but not successful seasons in terms of Super Bowls, especially with the rosters they have. What did we say at the beginning of this year in preseason? The Chargers on paper can win a Super Bowl this season. The Chargers will not win a playoff game. That's what I said. And that's what I still firmly believe.
At the moment, they don't even have a winning record. It's kind of unbelievable. I don't know what it is, if it's front office, whatever the case may be. The Chargers have a dark cloud over them that they can't seem to shake, because this team should be fantastic. And some of those losses, by the way, are because of the coach. I mean, there has been some very questionable decisions that have cost them games. So, I mean, I guess if you were to erase some of those, then those close games become wins. Maybe. I mean, maybe. It's all speculative at this point.
Well, but you even look at the wins, and Brandon Staley tried to give those away against the Vikings.
Right.
We discussed this on 4th down. I mean, they did everything in their power on their side of the field on a 4th and 1, a long 1 yard, and the running play decided to run, and they were held under 30 yards rushing on the game. It was ridiculous. It was a poor decision. It was a poor play. Conceptual, every way you could view that was a bad decision. They somehow survived the Vikings and get a W. And the same thing happened against the Raiders. More poor decisions, but it was just like a Josh McDaniels classic blundering coaching game where he gave it to the Chargers. And those are the only 2 wins of the year. I don't blame Justin Herbert. I mean, I can see the consensus after years of different coaches, people saying, yeah, well, Phillip Rivers, this and that, about the way he performed at the end of the game in clutch moments. I get it. I get that argument, because he was a common denominator for years and years and years. I refuse to blame Justin Herbert. Not yet at this point in his career. That was his only 2nd interception of the year so far. He's had 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. I don't blame Justin
And it's
Herbert.
in desperation time.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to make a play happen.
Yeah, I blame coaching. I blame culture. I can't blame Herbert.
Well, lots of NFL so far in the show, lots more NFL to come, but let's take a quick look at the MLB postseason. 2 games last night. The ALCS Rangers take a 2-0 series lead over the Astros. Good news for everybody who hates the Astros. 5-4 win for the Rangers yesterday. Phillies go up 1-0 on the D-backs. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos all hit homers in the first 2 innings. And get ready for this little stat. Nick Castellanos and Bryce Harper have combined to hit 8 home runs in the last 3 games. That is the most by a duo in a 3-game span in MLB postseason history. They edge out Castellanos and Trey Turner in this same span, as well as Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth in 1928, 7 each. Dak Prescott last night and the Cowboys win was 7 for 7 when targeting CeeDee Lamb. If it was 8 for 8, I'd be a much happier man this morning. Prescott to Lamb, seeing an 81% completion rate this season, second highest by any quarterback wide receiver duo with at least 40 attempts. You'll never guess the first, because it's Bryce Young and Adam Thielen.
Okay.
Wow.
Travis Dale's Adam Thielen.
Yeah. Who I took off the bench. He did score like 27 points that week, by the way.
Yeah,
he still did.
DJ Moore had 50-something.
52.
Right.
52.
That was a tough day.
Yeah, it was fine. It's fine. I won the week.
Rich, did you have any good underdogs last night?
I did not.
God,
No.
mine was so good. I needed one more passing attempt towards CeeDee Lamb. And my 5-leg parlay my 5-leg pick'em would have hit.
Those underdog fantasy pick'ems, they are tricky, my friends. They are tricky, but they are. I mean, like we were literally on the group text rooting for Ben.
Yes,
we're living vicariously through his excitement.
It makes games so much more fun.
Which prior to the game, as you were doing a very lengthy NFL TikTok live, you said that you were going to take the under on Dak at 254 yards passing.
I took the over.
You took, good call. When you said that, I thought, I don't know. He may have a game. He did all right.
Thank you for being my only viewer.
Yeah. I made a lot of comments.
It was just Brock the dog eating a bone and me chiming in with dumb NFL stuff.
And we were on there just haranguing Ben the entire time.
So the whole reason I was doing it wasn't so you all could see my face. It's so you all could see the 3 of our faces today, which didn't work. So more just reason for Ben to be pissed off this morning.
You should do it again this afternoon.
Honestly, I liked it a lot. I want this to be a series for us.
30 minutes of just Ben.
Just either Ben or just Brock
Yes.
licking his bone.
Rich did get me to take my shirt off.
Yeah, I
You did. That's right. Yeah,
Brrr.
Fletch got there was some nudity.
That's why they call him Flesh on the interwebs. So Adam Schefter appeared on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. Adam Schefter was discussing Bill Belichick and the Patriots and the track that they're on this season. Only one win, outscored 72-3 so far over the past 3 games and counting. Schefter said that some hard conversations are ahead between
I
Bill
don't think that's
Belichick
right.
and Robert Kraft.
They scored like 17 points on Sunday.
Oh, it was over. No,
It was
I
previous
It
two.
Yeah, but through the first 2 quarters,
Okay.
rather. So it was over the past, I messed it up. Over the 8 quarters prior to the second half of Sunday's game, it was like 72-3. You're absolutely right. But the Patriots have been awful. Suffice it to say that the Patriots have been like as dreadful as the Patriots have ever been. Because actually, I shouldn't say even before Tom Brady. There were some dark years before the era of success with Brady and Belichick.
Oh, they were terrible.
They were absolutely a laugher of an organization.
Like Denver Bronco, terrible.
But if you guys
It's
had
awful.
Drew Bledsoe's wine, oh, it's good.
Is it good?
It's actually really tasty.
Yeah, but prior to Drew Bledsoe,
Yeah.
Prior
Awful.
to that, I mean, the old, I don't know what they call the mascot who was in like the football stance, that old Patriots logo.
Yankee Pat.
Pat the Patriot.
No, that's what it is.
Yeah,
really?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Pawtucket Pat.
I don't think that is. I don't think it's it.
That's
Sure.
Family Guy.
Anyways, do we think that Belichick honestly can be fired in season? Because that's the insinuation from Adam Schefter, that hard conversations are ahead between Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft.
I can't imagine they would do that to Bill Belichick. I can't imagine that would ever happen. That guy has brought in so much money for Robert Kraft. I mean, so much money. There's just no way.
I would love to make the argument the other way just to disagree with Travis, but I can't. I don't think that there's any chance he would ever get fired in season. Now, I could see at the end of this season, Robert Kraft sitting down with him and being like, look, Bill, what would you do if you were me right now? And we know with the amount of control that Bill Belichick has over this organization, he has been Robert Kraft in many instances, firing other people. So if that's the way Bob Kraft approaches this and just says, what would you do if you were the one making the decision right now? I think Bill Belichick would have to come to terms with, yeah, I'd probably fire me because it's been bad. And Belichick has missed on a lot of draft picks, especially on the offensive side of the football. And maybe it's not a sense of firing him as a head coach. Maybe it's just a sense of taking some power away from him, which I don't know that Bill Belichick would ever agree to.
I think you're misreading the situation altogether. I don't think Bill Belichick would ever admit that. I don't think that Bill Belichick thinks that he should be fired. I don't think that Bill Belichick would agree with that sentiment at all because of what he's done for Robert Kraft, not just the money, but the success. I mean, you're talking about 2 decades of sustained success in a league where it's fleeting. I mean, for most organizations, if you string together 3 years where you're making playoff appearances, you're like, wow, the window opened and we did it, gang. like that's a success. That's a success story. If you have a quarterback play well for a decade, just play well. We're not even tying that to team success. Just have a quarterback play well and not have that box be unchecked the entire time. You would look at that and say, wow, success, gang. This guy went on a 20-year trump of dominance. Now, again,
What have you done for me lately?
But again, going back to the point you were just making, there is no chance that Bill Belichick is going to walk into Kraft's office and say, you're right, I should be fired. There's no chance. He's going to tell Robert Kraft about what the future is going to look like for the Patriots in the rebuild, because that's what they're in the midst of. That's what they were in the midst of when Tom Brady stepped away in free agency and went to Tampa. And then they had the Cam Newton, and then they have the Mac Jones now. That's not working out. And he's going to shrug off a lot of the blame onto Mac Jones.
But then Robert Kraft can go and point at different decisions that Bill Belichick has made in the draft to be like, miss, especially on the offensive side of the football.
But again, you don't get to where he's at. I'm talking about Bill Belichick without having an unbelievable faith in yourself to figure things out. So he'll never fall on the sword. There's no chance.
The better question, are they making a change at quarterback here? Because it's been awful with Mac Jones.
Mac Jones will not be their starting quarterback here very much longer. And that actually, I could see that happening this season before anything happening to Bill Belichick. And that's going to be a reality that Mac Jones may face here this upcoming week.
Could he get traded? What would you get for him? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, his value. They have the worst offense in the NFL. The Patriots have the worst offense. Statistically, the worst offense.
J-Mac had the stat yesterday. It's like the Patriots and the Panthers have combined for less points than the freaking. Or no, the Patriots have scored 70-something points all year long. The Dolphins did it in one game.
Yes.
That was the stat.
Yes, that is correct. And that's about all you need to know about how and they're in their division, by the way. That's about all you need to know about the Patriots this year. What I want you to know about my season, this fall season, is the fact that I'm down 34 pounds over 5 weeks.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
I mean, we're at week 6 in the NFL.
35?
Yeah. Well, 34. 34 pounds. 34 pounds in 5 weeks and a couple of days.
Incredible.
And it's all thanks to sdfatloss.com. That's sdfatloss.com. If you want to find out how, just go to that website and start the conversation with Wayne and Chloe. That's our team over at SD Fat Loss. Ben's down a ton of weight, 25 plus pounds. Travis is down over 25 plus pounds. I'm down 34 pounds as of today. So if you want to lose weight like us, if you have a couple of tricky pounds that you've been waiting years to take care of, if you're a woman listening to the show, for years, postpartum weight was something that Ann complained about. She's doing this with me and she's lost 10 pounds. If you're in a situation where you're a grandfather or you're an older dad and you're thinking about, hey, I might want to walk this kid down the aisle one day, attend their wedding and be a part of their graduation and all the things to look forward to in life. I get it. Like, those thoughts become realer and realer the older you get. It's time to do something about it. And sdfatloss.com is the place to go. Or you could call 858-665-3211. That's 858-665-3211. I feel better. I have more confidence now.
Yet another starting quarterback has just lost their job. We'll explain more coming up next.
This update is presented by AutoZone. Starting off with Monday Night Football here. Chargers fall to the Cowboys last night at SoFi Stadium, 2017 final score. Chargers did have a last-minute drive to try and tie the game or take the lead, but Justin Herbert would throw an interception to Stephon Gilmore with 57 seconds left on the clock. That would ice the game for the Cowboys. And that would put a nail in week 6 of the NFL season. Week 7 gets going to Thursday night with the Jags and the Saints in New Orleans. In the MLB postseason, Rangers take a 2-0 series lead over the Astros. After a 5-4 win yesterday in the ALCS, Phillies go up 1-0 on the D-backs. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, all hitting home runs in the first 2 innings of the game. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. So get in the zone. It's AutoZone.
Big Rich CD and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. Making sure, there is there. We have a chance for you to win $1,000 every single day. Just listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. It's presented by Loan Pronto. Stop paying insane rates on your credit cards. Loan Pronto can help you tap the equity in your home so you can be credit card debt-free in less than a week. Just go to loanpronto.com. It's loanpronto.com.
I have a theory I want to run by you guys.
Oh, boy.
I have a theory, and I think it makes sense, but I want to steel man this argument. I want you guys to try to pick it apart. But first, I just want to read an update. This from Colts owner Jim Irsay, who told everybody that his starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson, is probably, quote unquote, finished for the year. He told ESPN yesterday. He is going to undergo, most likely, shoulder surgery on a sprained AC joint on his throwing shoulder side, his right shoulder. This is a surgery I've had. I had it on my left shoulder in 2009 or 2010.
Is this the one that put you in the armchair?
Yeah, well, that was a labrum tear that they repaired also. But at the same time, what they do, it's called an AC resection. Basically, what they do is they put like a 2-inch cut over your clavicle, over your collarbone, and they just shave down the collarbone to make more room in the joint for all of the tissue that swells and gets inflamed. So yeah,
Did they put you under? I hope.
Oh yeah.
Thank God.
Oh, 100%.
Could you imagine, even if you were like numb in the area, but they go in with a scalpel and start shaving, and you could hear it? You know when you're at the dentist and you can hear them doing that.
Yeah, like grinding teeth. Oh God, no,
It's the worst.
no, that is, there's no question about it. They put you under, and you wake up, and honestly, the AC resection, that surgery for an offensive lineman, it's different. It's not like I'm throwing a football, and all that. It's different, but that surgery can take you 8 to 10 weeks to come back from. I guess that would be the rest of the season for the Colts for him anyways, but you can rush that deadline. I've seen guys come back from that 6 to 7 weeks, but that's if you're really pushing it.
Good thing we got Doc Chow on today.
Yeah. We'll talk to him about it for sure. But this, I think, is out of an abundance of caution. The guy's been hurt a couple of times this year, head trauma, lower body trauma. Now the shoulder puts him down for the season. Here's my theory, though. The dual threat quarterback is going to quickly go away in the NFL. Lamar Jackson case study that you cannot trust a dual threat quarterback because he is going to be injured at some point over the course of the season. Anthony Richardson is an even larger example of what a freak athlete can get you at the quarterback position. He's strong, he's fast, he can bulldoze people in the run game, but often injured. I mean, it's happening already in his career. He's only played 4 games. So my thought process is that boomed for about 15 years. A lot of people were interested when they saw it work with Kaepernick. A lot of people were interested, obviously, with certain standouts like Mike Vick. But Mike Vick also had a huge arm, and he could make plays from the pocket. He just extended plays so often. I think we're going to see a transition back to the days where you just had the statue standing in the pocket, working the pocket, delivering the ball from the pocket, because it's a safer place for a quarterback to be.
Yeah, if you want somebody long term.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you have a dual threat quarterback who's now out there just getting blasted every time he's out there running, yeah, you would think that there is more chance for him to be hurt. There's more chance for an injury there. Look, I mean, a lot of these dual threat quarterbacks, you see the first few years, they're dual threat, and then that tapers off. And if they don't become that packet or pocket passer, their career gets cut short. Now, I would ask, is Patrick Mahomes a dual threat?
He is, but I mean, obviously, if you told Patrick Mahomes you have to operate in the box, like you have to be a pocket passer, I think he finds a way to have success in the NFL regardless. Like if he was forced to play without that aspect of his game, he wouldn't look as special and intangible as he does now, but I think he would still be an excellent quarterback. Justin Herbert, same thing. Is he a dual threat? Yeah, he's an athlete. But I mean, the best thing about him is his ability to throw the football downfield accurately. Joe Burrow, same thing. Not as good of an athlete as the other two we were just discussing, but they're better pocket passers than they are actually athletes outside. But Lamar Jackson, his game is predicated around the fact that he's a run threat.
Yep.
Anthony Richardson, Cam Newton years ago. Like there's these examples. But I don't know. If I'm a franchise and I'm seeking out a quarterback, my theory is you're going to see less and less franchises willing to take that risk.
So I don't think they're going to go completely away from the dual threat. What I do think is you're going to now start looking for bigger, stronger dual threat athletes. You're going to look for the Josh Allen in the draft.
But Anthony Richardson, look at him.
He's huge.
He's enormous.
And I think but the issue you have with Anthony Richardson is the opposite of what you have with Josh Allen. Anthony Richardson, it's predicated run first, right? With him, he does have the big arm, but it's more like, he's a threat on the field because of his running ability, where Josh Allen, you have to cover the pass, and then every once in a while he's going to take off and run.
Yep.
And it's going to be really impressive for the Bills. Now, when I look at who's coming up in this year's draft, I see Caleb Williams, 6'1", 215 pounds, somewhere in that range. And then I see Drake May, who's 6'4", 230 pounds. Like, I would, as a draft analyst, which I'm not, lean more towards Drake May because I've seen Justin Herbert in this league at 6'4", 6'5", be able to stay in games and take hits. I've seen Josh Allen, who's 6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds, be able to sustain hits and stay standing and stay in games. Now, when I'm looking at Caleb Williams, I'm thinking he's a little stringy. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want to put my faith of the franchise in this guy. When I look at Bryce Young, I thought the exact same thing, which is why I agreed with what Charles Davis said a few weeks ago on our show. Yeah, I probably would have taken CJ Stroud first, even if he had less arm talent than Bryce Young. And when you look at the NFL games right now, when you look at the Carolina Panthers and the Houston Texans, who looks like they belong more? CJ Stroud all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I don't know if it's going to go completely away from dual threat. I just think they're going to go away with small bodied dual threats.
Maybe, but man, oh man, it would sure be a lot easier if you just tried to keep a guy safe in the pocket instead of having to worry, oh man, every play. Yeah, maybe he's extending this play, but he may be ending our season
Edge
because he
rushers have
gets
just
hurt.
gotten too good though.
Yeah, but
Like you
so
got to be able to have a little escapability.
I think that, Rich, to your point, Lamar Jackson, the reason that contract was hung up was because of the fact they were like, what if he gets hurt, man? What if the dual threat goes away and now he's only a singular threat? Is he still the same quarterback? No, he's not.
Yeah. Yeah. I look, I mean, the example of Anthony Richardson is specifically it's a deterrent to me because if you look at a quarterback and you say, okay, all the problems with Lamar Jackson, right? He's injured all the time, but he is such a amazing athlete that like you'll take the risk. But with Anthony Richardson, a lot of people are saying, well, he's got these insane athletic abilities.
6'4", 245.
He's a giant.
Yeah.
But and he, by the way, that doesn't tell the whole story. He runs a 4.40. I mean, the guy is an insane athlete, can jump out of the gym. He does all the things you want to see, but it's not sustainable at this level. It just isn't. You're going to get hurt if you're a dual threat quarterback in this league. And so Caleb Williams, I know what you're saying. Like, he's a great athlete, but that's not what he's known for. He's known for his arm.
Right.
Same thing as Patrick Mahomes. Like, he can throw the football downfield. Yes, he can extend plays, and absolutely that's a part of his game. It's what helps make him so special. But he doesn't sustain the violence that Anthony Richardson and Lamar Jackson expose themselves to.
What I'm curious if the statue quarterback ever makes a comeback, because I don't think it's possible in today's NFL for somebody who literally Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, who can't run. Like if they run, you're going to be having an issue. Like if that guy ever comes back, I would be really surprised because you have to be able to escape the edge rushers who are getting better and better and better and better.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr is still playing in this league. He's not an amazing athlete. Like I said, Joe Burrow, I mean, he's not known for his wheels.
Both
he's not
a little more mobile than Brady or Rivers.
Well, no, Rivers had Rivers to me seems a lot like Burrow. Seems a lot like Derek Carr. Like, I mean, now Brady was a terrible athlete. There's no question about it. He was a rocket scientist in terms of his brain, and his ability to throw the football was almost unmatched throughout the majority of his career.
To avoid within the pocket somehow.
And that's the thing. As long as you're able to look, offensive lines matter. Like you need blockers, but if you're able to work the pocket and deliver from the pocket, it's your best chance of staying healthy. Because guess what? Anytime you leave the pocket, and I mentioned this maybe last week, you're in the land of the Giants. Nobody can protect you out there. Somebody is going to come up and snuff you, and that happened several times to Anthony Richardson over the course of this season, and it's as a result he's going to be done for the year. Okay, want to talk to you about Underdog Fantasy really quick. Underdog Fantasy is one of the fastest growing fantasy football apps on the planet right now, and for good reason. It's easy to use. You can use download the Underdog Fantasy app or go to underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with promo code XTRA. When you do that, they will double your first deposit up to $100. Plus, new customers are going to have a very special mystery pick in their pick'em lobby. You can win big with that. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code XTRA. First deposit of $10 or more will be doubled up to $100. Plus that special pick in the pick'em lobby. I play this all the time. It's super fun. They have this pick'em game where you pick between 2 and 5 players. You select whether they'll go higher or lower on their stats. Then you do what you normally do. You just watch the football game. Like last night, Monday Night Football, Ben had a 5-player pick'em, nearly hit, just needed a couple more yards from CeeDee Lamb, and then he was going to win $100 on a $5 entry. That's all you have to do is download the Underdog Fantasy app, and you can win real money, completely legal in California. I know a lot of people are asking about that. You have nothing to worry. Build your dream team today. Go to their easy-to-use mobile app or underdogfantasy.com. You must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Is it West Coast bias, or did the national media get it right? That's next. Rodney Dangerfield said it best. No respect. That's next. It happens every single offseason. We should be used to this by now. And if you're listening to this program, by the way, please do so on the free iHeartRadio app. You could take us wherever you're going. I always start my mornings this way. I turn on the free iHeartRadio app. I turn on our station because I love listening to Two Pros and a Cup of Joe while I'm actually making my coffee. Hop in the car. It connects via Bluetooth seamlessly. And wherever you're going, if you're heading to the office, you're going to be running errands, dropping the kids off at school, you can just keep the phone rolling throughout the day. So that's the free iHeartRadio app. But yeah, this happens every offseason. We should not be surprised that the San Diego State Aztec basketball team is not getting respect. This was a national championship bid.
They moved up one spot.
They lose to UConn after the heroism in the Final Four. And they get seated at 17th in the nation.
I got a lot of problems with this.
Yeah,
I know we shouldn't.
We're number one.
Seven. We're number one. Seven.
We're number
We shouldn't be surprised, but I am
Damn it.
surprised. Like, how does this happen every year? Because usually they're not ranked at all in the preseason. poll.
No, I know that's true. Last year they started the season unranked. Am I wrong? I remember
no,
that.
you're 100%
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
And then within a week, they were in the top 25
course.
rankings. But like you look at this team, so they lose Nathan Mensah, they lose Agwuka Rope, they lose Keyshawn Johnson. Those are three big losses. Those are three big parts of the team. But what you don't understand, AP poll looking at you, Bernie Wilson looking at you. Bernie has nothing to do with this.
No.
I just like giving him a tough time. But what they don't understand is now you're getting another year of development with literally metrically one of the best defensive guards in the country in Lamont Butler, who's only going to be better this upcoming season. You're getting another year of development of big guy Jaden Ledee, who literally was one of the most important pieces in 3 of the sweets or of the March Madness games. He was one of the most important players on the entire team. You're getting another year of development of freshman last year, sophomore this year, Miles Bird, who has one of the highest ceilings of anyone on this team. Micah Parrish, who hit big shot after. I can keep going.
We're getting way too far into the weeds. Nobody cares. What they do care about is numbers. What they do care about is numbers. And when you get into roster depth and you get into players, look, people know Dutcher. They know Coach Dutcher overall. I'm talking about you are obviously, and we know this because we will get text messages from Ben Fletcher, at like midnight some nights during random like Wednesdays. He'll be like, "Are you guys watching this Temple UMass game?" And we'll be like, "No."
I watched an hour and a half of Farrell Compton High School film yesterday.
Like, this is what I'm talking
He's
about.
really good.
Guys, this is the greatest time of the year.
Kidding me?
Ben Fletcher, if we know not, Fletch is a college basketball fan and a nut, and we love him for it.
TV,
And
you go Super Bowl in February to March Madness in March to the Masters in April. That is
so
the
good.
best time of year.
it really is a very
The
good time.
most wonderful time.
But people know Brian Dutcher, they know Steve Fisher from the past, they know numbers,
They know Lamont Butler.
they understand top 25. And the fact that the Aztecs went to a national championship, and the fact that the Aztecs have been able to recruit and replace and reload every single offseason and be in the national picture by the end of every single season, the fact that they're at 17th, that is getting poked in the eye.
Yeah.
It should fuel them. It should be bulletin board material. Nobody has any respect for this team as usual, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks.
Is there any of this, though, that's if you looked at the season as a whole instead of just where they ended up, is there any of that that comes into play? Because last season, for weeks, we were saying there needs to be a leader on this team. We need to see a leader emerge. I mean, every game was a fight. They were losing games they shouldn't have lost. They had some bad losses. They had some good wins, but they had some bad wins. So, I mean, the season struggled. It wasn't until they got into the tournament that all of a sudden you went, hold on now. Hold on. They're rolling.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, in sports, it really always is ultimately where you finish, not where you start.
No, I get
You
it.
know?
I mean, it's grading your pilot on the takeoff or the landing.
Right.
You don't care about the takeoff.
So when I bitched and moaned about this on Twitter last night, someone was like, well, UConn exposed them in the national championship game. I'm like, did you watch the tournament? UConn did that to every single team they played.
Yeah, there are certain times where there's a force to be reckoned with.
And also, you just said it, national championship game.
The Huskies, they were really good. Guess what? So were the Aztecs.
I was like, what
until
about
they ran
Alabama?
into UConn.
Alabama was the number one ranked team of the entire tournament. The Aztecs took them down. So I just
Yeah.
miss me on that argument. This is dumb that they're ranked 17.
I agree 100%. No respect. Rodney Dangerfield had it right. Okay, there is a new NFL conspiracy. We need to get into this one. This is... Boy, I'll tell you what, if this is ever proven true, this will be the biggest embarrassment for the LA Chargers. Hands down, that's next.
Hour number 2, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update is presented by AutoZone. We will begin here in the NFL, where the Chargers lose to the Cowboys last night on Monday Night Football. 20-17 was the final score. Chargers did have a last-minute drive to try and tie or win the game, but Justin Herbert would throw an interception to Stephon Gilmore with 57 seconds on the clock. That iced the game for the Cowboys. Week 6 is done in the NFL. Week 7 gets going Thursday night. Jags Saints in New Orleans. In the MLB postseason, Rangers take a 2-0 series lead over the Astros. After a 5-4 win yesterday in the ALCS, Phillies go up 1-0 on the D-backs. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos all hitting home runs in their Game 1 win. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. It's AutoZone.
Yeah! Woo! Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And we are reacting to Monday Night Football. The Chargers lose to the Dallas Cowboys. And I will say this, Dak Prescott, the one thing that I take away is he can do it. It's just inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you see it in him as a player in certain moments where you go, wow, if he does that on a weekly basis or a near weekly basis, the Dallas Cowboys will win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott. The problem is you cannot count on that Dak showing up every single week. You just can't.
No, he makes so many mistakes. I mean, so many. And it's a joke at times. It's a joke for non-Dallas fans about Dak screwing things up. So he had a great game. He looked good. I mean, that was a Dak Prescott where I would think that's the guy you want on any team. I mean, he was out there making plays happen, and he was out there willing his team to win.
Cowboys win a 20-17 Monday night battle in LA against the Chargers. It was a decided home crowd for the Dallas Cowboys. It feels like it's never going to switch. It's never, that market is never going to switch over where it's 100%, even during great seasons for the Chargers, where it's 100% Chargers fans, sellout crowds, where maybe if they're playing the Chiefs or maybe if they're playing the Cowboys or the Raiders, you'll see a smattering of silver and black or silver and blue or Kansas City red, but overwhelmingly it'll be Chargers. It's never going to happen in that market.
Yeah. I was watching after the game, I guess it was ABC. They had some poll that came up of how many Charger fans still root for the Chargers after they left San Diego. And whatever the number was, 30% of fans still root for the Chargers. Another 15% don't care at all. They don't have a team. And 55% of former Charger fans now still root against them. So, I mean, the hate's still here. Let it flow through you.
Except for one lady who was in the stands last night.
That was an interesting
Who was
little,
a very enthusiastic Charger fan.
He loves the Chargers.
On 3rd down and short, she was freaking out like, oh my God, please get the first down. When they scored a touchdown there later in the game, she was going nuts. This is the greatest day of my life. And I believe none of it.
So everybody put your aluminum foil hat on.
Mm-hmm.
The old
X-Files music.
The old tin foil hat.
Yeah,
that's suiting. Because we're gonna take a walk down. So Jack Mack, who's a TikTok personality,
Barstool,
he put out a post where he took screenshots of the game of this lady who was losing her mind for the Los Angeles Chargers, who was also disappointed after the loss. They made sure they got her reaction after the final interception was thrown. But his theory is that this is an industry plant. Now, that term has become more popular recently with the sudden success of the Bobby Atloff podcast. So Bobby Atloff is this very low-key, low-energy interviewer whose podcast all of a sudden started getting stars like Drake.
Out of nowhere.
Like some of the biggest musical acts on the planet will stop by her house will sometimes even get in bed with her, and she'll be whispering into a microphone, asking inappropriate questions and reacting in humorous ways to the answers that she's given from these rappers and these actors and these people of interest. So anyways, they're saying Bobby's an industry plant. Like, she signed with one of these major agencies, and they built her into something as a social media avenue for these rappers and these actresses and actors to get word out. Well, that word has now been applied to the lady rooting for the Chargers at Monday Night Football last night. Now, I mean, are you guys believing that these were genuine reactions?
No. Yeah, I don't think I am either. I don't believe. Look, I mean, she knows it's week 6, right? She knows it's week 6.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like melting down over the place.
And she appeared to be by herself. I didn't see anyone in close proximity to her. The camera somehow was able to find her immediately and often.
That's not fair.
No,
there were plenty of people around her.
Right, but the camera wasn't going to anyone else in her group, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And she was in a place that was easily accessible for the camera to just shoot right to her and have a full body shot. And the reactions were so over the top.
Here's my hang up, is if it were myself in a suite, it looks like she was in a suite, right? She was in a box somewhere.
Ish.
If you're in that box, there's a TV up there. You would see yourself on the television and be like, oh my God, they've zeroed in on me here in my stupid faces. I'm not going to make those faces anymore.
I think you would. I've seen you at concerts.
There are people who are, yeah. Well, yeah. Of anybody who's saying that, Travis Scott is the last person.
Oh, me on the Jumbotron? Yeah, I'll do something crazy.
Dude, Travis is the guy at the Comedy Act who, when the comedian asks the crowd, how are we doing tonight? He goes, really good. We're doing really good.
Anybody ever been to Wichita? I have.
Yeah. It's Casper, Wyoming. You want to know?
Oh, that's right.
That's what it was.
Casper. My buddy lives in Pinedale.
The guy on stage goes, who was that? And Travis goes, it was me.
What do you know about Casper? It's in Wyoming.
Yeah, I've driven through Casper several times.
I've driven through there. The comedian had nothing. He was just like, well, anyways, the story's not about Casper, Wyoming. Getting back to what I was saying. Well, so knowing that there are people like Travis in the world, I do believe that this could have been this woman's genuine reaction if she's a Chargers fan.
I mean, it's the one where she's screaming over, like, hang on.
We're playing the video right now.
Right here, they get a touchdown, and then this one here. That's not normal. Nobody does that.
Okay.
I mean, did they win the Super Bowl?
I was in New England. Okay. This is a true story. And I was talking to probably like a 55-year-old or 60-year-old man who had been a New England Patriots fan for years and years and years. I was fresh off of getting drafted in the 4th round. And I kid you not, when he asked me to sign something for him, he was visibly shaking with excitement.
Wow.
Shaking. His sons were standing next to him. They were too young to really understand what like being a fan was, or like why his dad was so excited to be there. They were probably around my kids' age now, like 8 and 5. Like they're young kids. He is shaking. Like his hands are shaking as he's handing me the poster and the pen. I'm signing it for him. I'm like, where are you from? He's like, oh, I live right down the one. I've grown up here. I've been to every game since blah, blah, blah. I'm season ticket holder. And my dad took me to games and now I'm taking boys to the games. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm just like, I am a backup offensive lineman right now, buried on this roster. I'm a kid. I'm 21 or 22 years old right now. It seems unfathomable that somebody could be that interested or excited to meet me. But I'm telling you, there are fans like that out there where they are diehards, like to the nth degree.
That's not the question. The question is, are there Charger fans out there? Like if this was at a Patriots game, I'd be like, yeah, I buy it. You know, they've been there forever. They're the long-standing fan base. There's a lot of crazy people in the upper Northeast. Like I get that, but the Chargers don't have that.
There has to be one. I mean,
Neither is the camera founder. And congratulations. And I mean, no ill
and
will
she
towards it.
happened to be in a suite and/or box that was easily accessible
With
by
a
a
brand new
camera.
iron jersey.
I thought the same thing. It
Okay.
was shiny and new.
And what do we know about the Chargers? Rich, you brought this up during commercial break.
Well,
I'd forgotten about this.
There
Look it up,
are
though.
no new fans.
Look
we know
it up.
that.
Look it up just to make sure. There were rumors, and I can't remember.
I remember this story too.
But I can't remember if they were substantiated. I cannot remember for the life of me. But there were rumors that the Los Angeles Chargers, when they were first making their announcement in the new market, they were literally putting out casting calls to get fans to come to fans, quote unquote, fans, people who are excited NFL fans to show up at their events. And they were handing out jerseys to people to make sure that they were papering the crowd with paid actors.
It was in Santa Monica, right?
No, I was at the LA Forum, I believe was the event. I believe it was their announcement when they were coming to LA. It was the event that Stan Kroenke refused to go to. There was an empty seat on the stage. Literally, he stood them up as the welcome to LA. They held a press conference, answered a couple of questions, got out of there. But I remember there was a rumor. Now, again, I don't know if they were ever proven to be true, but just the mere whisper that an NFL team, to curry favor or to make it look better from a public relations standpoint, were attached to rumors that they were paying people to show up. And then you see a woman absolutely losing her mind, to your point, Travis, week 6 in the NFL.
It seems strange.
They are literally fighting for an even record. Look, if we don't beat the Cowboys, we drop to 2-3.
No.
Or,
Lance Bass from NSYNC was at the game last night, I guess. I saw this photo.
Okay.
He's the camera panned over to him. He was on the Jumbotron. He held up a sign that says, "Not Taylor Swift." Yeah.
And I also wonder, like, at some of these like tennis matches and stuff, are they paying celebrities to go? Or the WNBA games, are they paying celebrities to go?
It's possible. It's possible. Also, like, brands could pay celebrities to show up places, because if they're wearing the hat,
Or like an Adidas shirt.
like a
I get what you're
Gatorade
saying.
hat, or I mean, that's a part of this too, because if you're the most famous person in a room and it's going to be a televised event, branding and sponsorship. What are you reacting to
Did
right
you
now?
spill your coffee?
He almost did.
I was just reading this headline, and then I scrolled down to the body of the.
Wow.
Okay, but just look at this line.
Wait, read the headline first. Let's just hear that headline real quick. This is in the New York Post, folks.
I slept with 300 people in a year. Haters say I'm disgusting, but I feel empowered.
All right, now what's the line that really caught your
What
eye
are
in the
you
body of
Googling?
this article? He does this all show long.
I'm really curious.
The line is, the messier, the better.
Good. Good. By the way, what's her name?
Annie Knight.
Okay.
She's 26 years old.
Excellent.
Yeah. 300 in a year. I mean, it's easier for ladies, honestly.
There's no question. I mean, it's fishing with dynamite.
That's right.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like, I mean, it's for men. For men, if you are looking for a lady suitor, you're stuck playing the numbers game. You're like, if you ask 10 ladies if they want to date, maybe one of them says yes.
I mean, 300
many times no.
300 seems like a lot. I'm just gonna say
300 could take down a Persian army.
It's a good point.
I know that.
that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
they made a
empirical
movie
proof.
about that.
Yeah.
Carolyn
Battle of Thermopylae.
Twitter, Queen of the North.
Mhm.
She says, please don't make fun of that fan. She was amazing. Loved her. One day that might be me. Carolyn, I hope it is you, because you'd probably get like an
Hold on.
$800-900
Wait a
check
second.
in the
Queen-
mail
Yeah.
and a brand new Justin Herbert jersey.
Queen of the North has that kind of energy.
She
though.
does.
She does.
She does. And she's a true fan.
Dude, I get it. Look, I really do. I could make the argument that this was real, that she wasn't an
It might have
industry
been.
plant.
And we're not making fun of her, I promise. I hope she cashed a check. I really do.
It's very funny.
Yeah, or she's really that into it. I
And
mean,
if that's the case, kudos.
Yeah,
I wish I could love something as much as she loves the Chargers losing.
yeah, it's just hard to believe. That's all.
You know what's so funny about this game, and for the Dallas Cowboys, it was asked and answered. Scott Van Pelt had CeeDee Lamb on his SportsCenter show, the wrap-up show after Monday Night Football, and he asked him, "Look, I understand it's early in the season, but you guys are about to approach your bye week. This feels this had the feels of being a must-win game for you guys. Do you agree with that? And he did. CeeDee Lamb, it wasn't even like he waffled on it. He was like, yeah, this was a must-win game for us. And he answered why. We'll get to that on the other side, because how close are we getting to that point with a lot of teams around the NFL? But first, this. Well, you heard us talking about Chargers lose to the Cowboys last night, Monday Night Football, 20-17 final. The Chargers had a chance in their final drive, but it was punctuated with a Micah Parsons sack, followed by a Stephon Gilmore interception to ice the game on back-to-back plays. Staying in the NFL, Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson is probably going to miss the rest of the regular season. That's per Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, who told ESPN yesterday. Richardson, this year's 4th overall draft pick, sustained an AC joint sprain in his throwing shoulder during the second quarter of the Colts' win over the Tennessee Titans. In baseball, the American League Championship Series is already 2 games in, and the Texas Rangers won last night 5-4. Rangers ahead 2 games over the Houston Astros. National League side in the championship series, Phillies won last night 5-3, so they have a 1-game lead over the Diamondbacks. As of today, they'll reset tonight. That's what's going on in baseball. But yeah, mentioned it earlier. We should discuss it. I mean, there's a lot of borderline teams around the NFL. When you start thinking about the Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb calling this a must-win.
Well, they needed to bounce back. I mean, they had such a bad look the week prior that I'm sure, and I think it was after the game during an interview, Dak Prescott said, we could not wait for this game to get here. We couldn't wait because we needed to show that we weren't the team we were a week ago. And I mean, they did sort of. That offense isn't putting up tons of points, but they won. And the defense stepped up when they needed them to right at the end of the game. So, you check some boxes there. You got the W. You move on.
TD, what I love about the NFL, and Rich, you lived this, you understand what it is you can get must-win games in week 6. Hell, you can get them in week 4. The Cincinnati Bengals had a must-win game this year in week 4 or in week 3 because they couldn't fall to 0-3. If you fall to 0-3, the percentages sway so heavily against you to make it in the postseason that it was a must-win game. And last night absolutely was a must-win game for both of these teams. Like, that's how their seasons have gone so far, where if you fall into that middle of the pack, your chances of making the playoffs become even less and you're tied up with a bunch of other teams. Like, that's what the NFL is so good at, and what baseball and basketball are terrible at is the emphasis early on in the regular season.
Chargers at 2-3 now, looking up at teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 3-3 after that fight to get to relevance after the slow start.
The Chargers are looking up at the Raiders.
The Chargers are looking up at the Raiders, who have a 500 record at 3-3. The New York Jets, another team. So, these 3-3 teams, right? Are we getting close to the point in the season already where we're saying, yeah, if the Cincinnati Bengals don't continue on this path of success, or the Raiders don't find a way to fix these issues and injuries, frankly, Jimmy Garoppolo again out with a back injury. We'll be talking to Dr. David Chow about a lot of these injuries around the NFL. There were a bunch of costly injuries to a lot of teams. The New York Jets, right? They surged recently, got a win against the Super Bowl visiting Philadelphia Eagles this past weekend. They're a 3-3 football team. You look on the NFC side. The Buccaneers right now at 3-2. The Los Angeles Rams at 3-3. The Commanders at 3-3. The Saints at 3-3. There are a lot of teams bunched up in the middle, and it sort of feels like if you look at the top of both of these conferences, 49ers with the loss, Philadelphia with the loss, Detroit Lions only a 1-loss team so far this season. On the AFC side, Kansas City with 1 loss, Miami with 1 loss, Ravens 4-2. That's the 3rd place team in the conference. It doesn't feel like anybody's unbeatable in this league.
So to put it in perspective, Rich, I'm looking at one of the advanced analytics sites that have projections out, and they do the postseason analysis like we were doing with the Padres all year, like the 0.01% chance and stuff. So this has the Chargers after last night dropping to a 26% chance to make the postseason. It has the Cowboys improving from a 37 to a 61% chance to make the postseason. Like, that's the definition of a must-win game. When you can jump that big in percentages to make the postseason in 1 week span, that's why the NFL is great.
Yeah, I mean, be careful with these with the projections and the numbers. Look, at the start of the Padre season, we were 20, 30, 40.
95% chance.
Yeah, 95% chance they're in the postseason. I mean, it was unless something just went horribly wrong. However, the trend from the start of the season continued through the start of the or through the end of the season. So, I mean, it's tough. I get it. That's what you do. You're trying to break out numbers. You're trying to project where these teams are going to end up. It still feels like the Chargers have a better than a 25% chance to me to make the postseason.
I'd give them a 1-in-4 shot.
Yep.
That's probably about where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably 50-50 on it. I don't know if I'm quite down to the 25% range. And then same with the Cowboys, where I'm probably 50-50 on them. So I'm not that high. They have a 66% chance. However, I'm not an analytics guy, nor am I a computer.
Yeah, I think those numbers are spot on. I mean, you look at the Chargers division. TD, you said it. They're looking up at the Raiders right now.
Yeah,
Not
but-
to mention the Chiefs are in their division, and then you look at the AFC side. It's freaking loaded. So even a wild card's going to be tough.
Yeah, the division's tough just because the Chiefs are there. The Raiders are not good. They're not.
But they're ahead of the Chargers right now.
Well,
at the moment.
you look at the NFC side of this battle between the Chargers and the Cowboys, or I should say the NFC East side. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles have looked beatable all season long, even though they remained undefeated until they ran into the Jets this week. And the Commanders, they're off to kind of the start. They're probably better than you would think they were going to be this year. The Giants
Sam Howell King
has absolutely plummeted. So the Dallas Cowboys may and probably should repeat as division winners unless something goes horribly wrong. So again, focusing in on who their competition is in division and their competition overall in the NFC and NFC in the conference, I sort of felt like it was more of a must-win for the Chargers than the Dallas Cowboys.
Wait, did you say you think the Cowboys will win the NFC East?
It's possible.
Over the Eagles?
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
I again, when you look at the NFC East, I don't think it's been like 20. It's been 20 years plus since the same team has won that division in consecutive years. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I would say that would be impossible, but I could be wrong. I also thought me losing weight would be impossible. I was
Look
wrong.
at you now. Look at you now.
Guys, I'm up to 30 pounds lost with sdfatloss.com.
Unreal.
And it's just insane how much better I feel today than I did a month and a half ago. And we tried it on our own. We tried Next Level Fit Guy stuff after torturing ourselves with months of Next Level Fat Guy stuff. And guess what? Now we're losing weight and we're doing it their way because our way didn't work.
We were so good at Next Level Fat Guy.
We were so good at it.
That was not torture.
Yeah.
But you know what it was? It was bad for us.
Mhm.
And once we came to terms with that, and once we decided to make a change in our lives, we went over to sdfatloss.com and scheduled a free consultation with Chloe, and she put us on the straight and narrow. I wanted to cheat yesterday, guys. I really did. But that little voice in the back of my head was that of Chloe's telling me to eat my asparagus and eat my chicken. And that's exactly what I did. So
eat adult food.
yeah, if you're ready to make a change in your
goldfish
life,
crackers.
if you've been following along with this show and saw us go through the ups and downs of weight loss, and you're ready to just start going down with weight loss, make sure you give them a call at 858-665-3211. Get your free consultation with Chloe and Wayne today. The secret of losing up to 1 pound of fat every single day, no exercise required, no counting points or calories, no prepackaged meals, no hormones, no surgeries, no drugs, no injections. It's all you. And that's what it's going to take. And with the help from Chloe and Wayne, I promise you will start losing weight like we do. Get over to sdfatloss.com today and schedule your free consultation.
Okay, coming up next, we got to get into some power rankings in the NFL. And also, we've got a couple of stories out right now on former NFL wide receivers getting into issues. One got hit by a car after a pickup basketball game, another arrested. We will update you on the other side. It's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
This update is presented by AutoZone. Starting off with Monday Night Football. Chargers fall to the Cowboys last night at SoFi Stadium, 20-17 final score. Chargers did have a last-minute drive to try to tie or take the lead in the game, but Justin Herbert would be intercepted by Stephon Gilmore with 57 seconds on the clock. That would ice the game for the Cowboys. Week 6 in the books. Week 7 gets started on Thursday night. How are we already at Week 7? That's insane. Jags Saints in New Orleans will be the Thursday night football game this week. Sneaky good matchup there. In the MLB postseason, Rangers take a 2-0 series lead over the Astros after a 5-4 win yesterday in the ALCS. Phillies go up 1-0 on the D-backs. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos all powering their way through this Diamondbacks pitching staff. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. It's AutoZone.
Big Racine Flat, San Diego Sports 760. We do have a family 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Hallow Scream. We're going to be giving away the screamiest event of the season. Now at SeaWorld San Diego. It's happening through Halloween night on select nights. More information, SeaWorldSanDiego.com, or just keep it locked in here if you want to win them. It will be coming up shortly. Guys, I was just looking up stats for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
He is 186 yards away from 1,000 yards this season. It's week 6.
He said before the season he was going for 2,000 this year. It looks like he'll easily be able to get it.
What the hell?
He is going to okay, so Calvin Johnson, Megatron, finished the one season. He has a single season receiving yardage record, like yard shy of 2,000. Nobody's ever had over 2,000 yards receiving in a season. He's in the Hall of Fame. Tyreek Hill is already going to the Hall of Fame. Yeah. There's no question about it. He may not only get 2,000 yards, he may obliterate the record. He's on pace. What is it for 2,300 this season? If you do the math.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Calvin Johnson in 2012 went for 1,964 yards. Didn't Cooper Kupp break it 2 years ago?
Nope.
No, he didn't.
No, he did not.
Maybe most yards from the line of scrimmage?
No, Triple Crown. He had the most receiving yards, most touchdowns, receptions, and most receptions on the season.
Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams, the only wide receiver to achieve a 2,000-yard receiving season in 2021, but that included postseason games.
Yeah. Not in a regular season has anybody ever eclipsed Calvin Johnson's record, and it could happen this year. And by the way, it could happen this year within 16 games.
Oh, right.
Calvin Johnson did it in 16 games. Tyreek Hill obviously has the benefit of the extra regular season game. He may not even need it.
Yeah, it may happen week 15.
Did you guys see Mike McDaniels, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, did a sit-down interview with someone from the NFL Network? I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but talking about the moment he found out that Tyreek Hill might even be a possibility for the Dolphins, and he told the GM that day, give them everything. He's like, if I have that guy in my offense, we will win a Super Bowl. He's like, give them whatever it takes to get Tyreek Hill here.
Well, they got to get there first.
Yeah. Well, they're good. They're good. There's no question about the Miami Dolphins. Their defense needs improvement, but you trust that offense because this is a pass happy league. Like it's just what it's turned into. You can have a great running game and you could pride yourself on playing tough defense, but if you don't have a high powered, high octane passing offense, I really don't think you can win a Super Bowl anymore. I just don't.
Yeah. And speaking of high-powered offense, the Dolphins moving up in the power rankings.
There you go.
Man, you find which one you want to look at. CBS Sports has the Dolphins at number 2. The New York Post had them at number 1. I saw another one at number 1 as well, which I can't find now.
I think ESPN had them at 1.
That ESPN had them at 1. The big shocker, man, your 49ers. Falling from grace with
1 to 2.
Terrible loss. Well, CBS has them from 1 to 4.
What the hell?
Yeah. Wow. The New York Post giving them a little bit more respect. They're over the Lions. The New York Post has them at number 3.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. You want that one?
Until we find out about the injuries, we just don't know.
Yeah.
Right now, CMC. There's no timetable on it because he was getting further imaging yesterday. We still haven't heard anything. Debo and Williams are both day-to-day. Like, you're missing any of those 3 guys, you should drop down in the power rankings.
We're going to find out more on those injuries at 8:30 with Doc Chow.
It makes me sick. I don't want to listen to that interview.
What?
I might leave. I'll ask the Aaron Rodgers question. You guys ask the Niners questions. I can't hear it. If he has bad news, dude,
Lord.
I'm gonna.
He's having a hard time.
It's an oblique. It's an oblique. I don't even use my obliques.
I don't even know where that is on your body. To be
Right here,
completely honest.
side of your abs.
Oh, you don't need that to run.
It's a triangle.
Be a man, Christian McCaffrey.
Or cute. I don't know. But either way, it's not good. Look, the Dolphins, I think, deserve more respect than they probably earn because their offense overshadows everything.
Yeah.
But special teams, why they're dangerous. Defense, they're good enough. And I do like their front seven. Like they can put a rush on now. They have some ballers up front on their defensive line and their linebackers. So the Dolphins, they can keep getting better because there's room for improvement. The 49ers, what's odd about them is it didn't look like they could be any better. They looked like the best team in football, and then they ran into a buzzsaw in Cleveland with that defense, with Denzel Ward on the back end. And who's their safety? I really like him. Is it Thornhill? And then obviously Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith, bookend edge rushers. Brock Purdy had his worst outing. So it makes sense that they've fallen, that the Dolphins have surged. And the Detroit Lions.
I know, right? Yeah, I mean, thank God.
I like the Lions a lot.
Yeah, Lions are fun. Lions are a fun team. They're a fun team to root for. They're a great watch. I'm all about that. I like to see them doing well.
So let's do this. That's the media's. Let's do ours.
Okay.
You guys ready? Big Rich, let's start with you with
Number 3.
Number 3.
Wow.
Cracking my top 3 is going to be, it's almost a tie right now between the Lions and the 49ers, but I give the edge to the 49ers. I've seen more good than bad out of the Niners. I'm a believer in Brock Purdy, so they're my number 3.
Yeah. I like Lions at number 3 as well. I'll concur on that.
Well,
I think they're number 3.
Niners.
I'm sorry. Lions. Did I say Niners? I'm looking at Lions. I'm thinking Lions at number 3. I've confused myself. Lions are number 3.
Okay, you guys are actually discounting the Lions compared to me. I actually have the Miami Dolphins at number 3, and
Wow.
it's because they were able to get figured out one week by the Buffalo Bills. And you look at the Dolphins schedule, and I think that was a little bit of an exposure from Tua Tagovailoa in this defense or offense.
Number 2.
Number 2 is very sexual.
Just wait for the next
going on? What is going
The
on
next
with
one is
that
the most
voice?
sexual of all.
Oh, man. Number 2 for me is going to be the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, to me, are one of those teams that, I'm having the most fun watching them. I think their defense, speaking of defense, is not getting respect. What the Lions have done defensively this season and what they did this offseason quietly has improved this team ultimately. I'm a huge Lions fan. I got them at number 2 overall.
Number 2 will be the Niners for me. The 49ers are still a team that, even with some injuries, have a ton of weapons on offense. They're a team, and the defense looks great. This is an all-around team that should be able to just roll through everybody. 2 weeks ago, we were all asking the question, can anybody stop them? Obviously, they can when Brock Purdy just absolutely crumbles, falls apart, looks absolutely awful.
Look at everyone's
dismal
numbers against
performance.
the Browns. All quarterbacks that have played them have been terrible.
God, you are so easy to fish in.
I know.
So easy. I just throw a hook out there, no bait on it, and
Okay,
you latch onto
My
it.
number 2 is the Detroit Lions, and it's because of Dan Campbell for the most part. I saw a video yesterday that got released from Hard Knocks when they were on it, and it was them talking about Craig Reynolds, who ended up having a huge role in the game last week when David Montgomery got hurt. And they all said the same thing, like, oh, we could probably cut him. Like, his talent isn't quite up to par with this team. But then every single one of the coaches, they went around the room and said, but he fits our culture. He's our culture piece, and he's one of the guys that is one of our guys. And Dan Campbell's like, that's all I need to hear. We're keeping him. And then Craig Reynolds ends up having a huge game for them on last weekend. So I think the culture is in place more so with them than any other team across the NFL, and that will lead us to
Will Eric Hosmer be an all-star this season?
number 1.
I'm really sad that our number 1 got. I do like the soundbite, but I really want to hear that
I'm never changing.
the woman's voice. Number 1.
Number 5.
Oh, man.
Why?
Yeah.
When they were doing the voiceover for it, or do you think it's a robot?
Oh,
Dude,
no,
we've
no.
had this for like 15 years.
I think this is a real person, and I think they were probably. I just picture somebody sitting in the control room, just sucking down a cigarette, going, "Sexier, sweetie."
This is a countdown, damn it!
these numbers have been here longer than I've been here.
Yeah, Yeah,
Wow.
there's no question about it. Somebody
Good.
really leaned into the microphone and in a very breathy way went, well, Eric Hosmer. The Chiefs are my number one. The Chiefs, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Until proven otherwise, they are my Super Bowl pick this year. I have them picked to win the Super Bowl this year. Until proven otherwise, the Kansas City Chiefs, they have the formula for success. They can win ugly games where it's a defensive slugfest. They can win high-octane, high-powered offensive games. The Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have it.
I don't disagree as far as Super Bowl pick and as far as going to the end of this thing and winning it. I don't disagree there. However, if I'm looking at the hottest, the most powerful team at the moment, the most powerful offense out there is the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they have so much speed; they are hard to keep up with, and I think that they'll continue to roll. Now, they may burn too hot and burn out soon. But at the moment, they are the hottest.
That's really what worries me about the Dolphins, TD, is that they might burn out. And yeah, I think Tyreek Hill is going to hit 2,000 this year, but I don't know if Tua can play all 17 games healthy. The Niners are my number one, and it's because I'm doing a week 7 power rankings, not a week 13, 14, 15 power rankings. In that case, it would be the Chiefs because I think they're going to figure it out, but I haven't seen it yet from them. I haven't. That offense hasn't been as high powered as I thought it would be. Their defense has been shockingly good, the Kansas City Chiefs, but the offense just isn't quite there yet. So they stay outside my top 5 or my top 3. They're number 5, actually. Eagles are number 4, another team who hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, I just see it this way. When you have Patrick Mahomes and you have an offense that can answer the bell at any point, I mean, I give them ultimate respect until proven otherwise.
Especially
One loss
once
on the
they
year.
get Justin Jefferson, they're going to be fine.
If there was an undefeated team,
That's true.
yeah, which it could happen. If there was an undefeated team left, I could have considered them getting the nod over the Chiefs, but there are none left. And before we run and talk about a couple of former wide receivers in the NFL on the run, I want to talk to you about Toyota. Okay, so I drive a 4Runner. It is the most family-friendly car I've ever owned. This thing runs like a top. It doesn't matter the circumstances. It is our long travel car. If we're going up to LA or beyond, going out to Arizona, any of the trips we've taken, we always pack up the 4Runner. It's the most dependable car my family's ever owned. And Toyota, they've got that reliability attached to their brand. You know, we're just talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, if you want something you could depend on, right? It's Toyota. Kansas City Chiefs winning Super Bowls, Toyota starting every time you turn over the key in your driveway. So I got into a Toyota by power of suggestion, right? I rented a car. Somebody told me, yeah, you got to try out the 4Runner. My wife didn't get car sick on the trip. She gets car sick in every other car we've been in. The kids had a blast, and they were actually napping in the back seat because my car seat wasn't banging into their car seats in the back. It was an incredible journey for us, and so we got into one, and we haven't looked back. In fact, our next car is going to be a Toyota because we are getting close to 10 years on the current car we own for my wife. So if you're driving around today thinking about your next car, your next truck, your next SUV purchase, let me make this very easy for you. Head to your local San Diego County Toyota dealers. They've got great deals on super reliable vehicles. Their customer service is excellent. And you're interested in going green or saving on gas, the Beyond Zero lineup of Toyota's electrified vehicles is for you. So again, head to your San Diego County Toyota dealers today or check out the full lineup at toyota.com. Coming up next, we got 2 Hall of Fame wide receivers. Maybe one is a Hall of Fame wide receiver. The other one may not be, but both of them are on the lamp from the law. That's next.
We got a couple of, well, I guess former NFL receivers who are having some run-ins with the law and a car. We'll explain next.
So Terrell Owens and Antonio Brown, during the course of their playing careers, they were kind of headaches for the teams they played for. They were definitely me guys. You could make that argument.
Yeah, a little bit.
So nothing's changed in retirement for either of them. The last time we saw Terrell Owens, he was actually leading the Colorado Buffaloes out onto the field at Oregon before they got absolutely stomped. But the most recent story on him is he was involved in a pickup basketball game in Calabasas in the LA area. He got into some beef with whoever he was playing against or someone on the court. And later that day, the gentleman he was in a conflict with drove a car into him. That is assault with a deadly weapon for anybody playing at home.
I mean, my question is, how many times during an NFL game did somebody want to drive a car into Terrell Owens after the game?
Oh,
probably a lot.
Many times.
He was one of the biggest S-talkers ever, and he wasn't just talking it. He was also shoving and going up on the Dallas Star and doing snow angels. Like, Terrell Owens was a problem.
Oh, yeah. He was the ultimate troll. He was great at it. And he also he was an amazing football player, obviously.
Fantastic.
And he made a career and a great endorsement career as a result of all the attention he was getting. But what's amazing about this is Terrell Owens spent a career, I mean, essentially getting into car accidents, being tackled by these linebackers and defensive backs and, even D tackles at times or defensive ends. I mean, so you figure if anybody can survive a car accident where somebody runs into with a car, it might be a football player, but you don't actually. He had no he didn't need any medical assistance.
That's good.
Like
That's
barely
good.
it clipped him and he was just like, nah, I'm cool. And I don't even think charges have been pressed. So I don't know ultimately what's going to happen here.
I mean, he probably knew he deserved it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're Terrell Owens, like, at a certain point, like, if you're egging someone on to punch you in the face so many times, you have to be okay with getting punched in the face or ran over.
So TMZ's
Did you have to be okay with it?
You don't have to be okay with it, but you have to know it might be coming.
Huh.
TMZ is also reporting, that was TMZ report. They're also reporting, TD, that Antonio Brown is going to be arrested because he's not paying child support.
I think he has been, right? I mean,
Is that the newest news?
yeah, I think the latest news is he has been arrested. Yes,
Okay.
he has been arrested
And
now.
booked. And there's the
Yeah,
mug
there's
shot.
the mug shot.
It's actually nice. That's a decent
That's
picture.
not bad.
The
Yeah.
fuss has been
handsome
after
guy.
for a while. Remember, he was in like a standoff with police. Was that last year?
He was
Where he was,
on
like,
the run.
Locking
He's
himself in his house, and there
fine.
were police outside. There was like 4 or 5 different squad cars.
Everything seems fine.
Yeah, somebody should check on
Yeah.
Antonio. Maybe this is the time. Maybe this is the time where if you're a buddy, maybe get on the horn with old
Dude,
AB.
I hope people
Oh,
have,
he-
and I'm sure people have, but the problem is the dude can't hold on to his phone. Did you see a video a couple weeks ago where he was
Oh, yeah.
partying in New Orleans and threw his pants up onto a balcony, and in his pants was his phone?
That's correct.
Hmm.
That's correct.
Hmm.
Also, it's always a flex, a weird flex when you throw your pants at somebody.
Yeah, that is very odd. He has been released, by the way. He was arrested at like midnight, and then they let him go.
Can I tell you guys a quick story about when I intentionally got myself hit by a car?
Oh, please.
So one time I woke up. It was in college. I think I was either a redshirt sophomore or redshirt junior. Like I've been there 3 or 4 years.
Wait, so this is a separate story from you running into the church van.
Correct. That was a car accident I was involved in on purpose for being late
Good.
in New England one morning.
Good.
This was, I woke up from a nap in a sheer panic. I actually wasn't panicked when I woke up from the nap. It was when I read my email from the class that I was intentionally missing while taking this nap that said, "You are missing our final exam today." I was like, oh my God. It was an hour and a half long class. And I mean, I would have made it for the last 20 minutes for a test I didn't study for because I had the days wrong. I thought it was a different day. So anyways,
Good.
I leave my apartment, leave the apartment complex. And while I was standing at a crosswalk near a bus stop and there was a stop sign, this lady was cruising to a stop. I threw myself on her car. I feel terrible about this to this day.
What are you going to teach your kids?
Dude, I rolled up onto the windshield.
Genius.
And then she hit the brakes. I rolled right onto the asphalt. There was an off-duty ambulance who came around.
God, that's great.
She was panicked. They wrote me a medical excuse note, and I ended up passing the class.
Yes. How about that? God, genius move.
Stay
when
in
your
school,
kids-
kids.
Yeah.
Like when your kids start
And if
getting
you
in
don't,
trouble,
just get hit by a car.
is that going to be your parenting advice to them?
Yeah, fling yourself into traffic. It'll all work out.
Do you know what the words of advice were from my dad as I was very close to not graduating high school? He pulled me aside and said, "Look, man, just cheat. Just get out of this."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sticks with me today.
Papa Dale was right. Papa Dale was right. All right, coming up next, we're going to check in with our Tuesday appointment with the doctor. David Chow is going to speak to us about injuries around the NFL. Also, Four Corners. We span the globe and the map for the best stories from around this great land. That's next.
It's hour number 3 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by Staples Stores. Monday Night Football, Cowboys beat the Chargers 20-17. Justin Herbert did have a last-minute drive to try to win or tie the game, but he threw a pick with 57 seconds on the clock. Stephon Gilmore would take it for the Cowboys, and that would ice the game for the Cowboys. That puts Week 6 in the books of the NFL season. Somehow we are already to Week 7. It gets started Thursday night. Jaguars, Saints in New Orleans. Sneaky good matchup there. In the MLB postseason, Rangers take a 2-0 series lead over the Astros with a 5-4 win yesterday in the ALCS. Phillies go up 1-0 on the D-backs. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos all hitting home runs in the game. At Staples, you can count on every print project being perfect. Right now, you'll get $100 off your print purchase of $250 or more. Offer ends 11/4. See staples.com/print for details. Make your small business's print and marketing materials stand out with perfect prints, guaranteed at Staples.
Woo! Ooh! Huh. Happy Tuesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. If you are currently listening on terrestrial radio, we appreciate that. San Diego Sports 760 is where you find us on the dial. If you want, go ahead and download the free iHeartRadio app. There's multiple reasons to use the free iHeartRadio app. You can take us wherever you go. There's the talkback feature. During our live show, if you ever want to communicate with us directly and you want your voice heard on the radio, there's a microphone icon next to the play button. You can hold that down, leave us up to a 30-second voicemail, basically, that we can replay in real time. You leave it, it gets to our, whatever you call it, database. Within 30 seconds, we can play it immediately on the show. So that's a fun way to connect with the show. And of course, you can share with friends. You got the share link available there, and we would love for you to do that. Dallas wins last night on Monday Night Football. And I want to go through the trust quotient we have for both of these teams. And we'll name names and we'll be specific. And also we'll be more vague. But right off the top, who do you trust more? Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott?
Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, hands down. Hands down. I mean, Dak Prescott, I think, had a better game, but the game was just different for Dak Prescott last night. There was something different that it looked like they wanted to win. It looked like they wanted to win more than the Chargers, and they did. They eked out a win. It was a fun game. That was one that was back and forth. It was finally a good watch on a Monday night game. It was fun, but overall, if I'm choosing one to put on my team for the rest of time, Justin Herbert all day.
TD, you're spot on, and I agree 100% with you. What I will say is Justin Herbert, I trust a lot more when he has any sort of run game. And Austin Eckler was really hemmed up last night, and I don't know if that's injury. He did look a step slower to me, especially on that route there in the fourth quarter where it was a swing pass to the right. And if Justin Herbert would have thrown it a second earlier, Eckler would have walked in for a touchdown, but he threw it a second late. And Eckler, we've seen make that play a million times where he can juke the guy, make a man miss, get into the end zone. He didn't make it last night. And I think he was a step slower because of the injury. When Justin Herbert has a run game and is able to let it fly, man, he's scary good. Dak Prescott, I've never really trusted, even when he had Ezekiel Elliott ripping off huge yards, even when he had Tony Pollard last night rip off a huge run, or it was a little screen pass, but similar. Like, I just don't think Dak Prescott has the goods inside him. Justin Herbert, I know for a fact, does.
Yeah, Fletch, I agree with you. And you too, TD. Like, the idea that just from a talent standpoint, Justin Herbert, I feel, is head and shoulders above where Dak is, just from a talent standpoint. Now, throw into it, he's younger and when surrounded by talent and a better run game, like you mentioned there, Fletch, I do think that he can supersede his environment better than Dak can. Like, I imagine if I paired Dak with some of the obstacles that Justin Herbert's had over his young career, I think the picture would look much worse for the LA Chargers.
Much worse.
So, yeah, I'm with you. Okay, who do you trust more? Who do you trust more? Brandon Staley or Mike McCarthy?
Oh, God.
Wait. Okay, I'll go first. I feel like
that's a terrible question.
Hang on. I feel like
I have my answer.
Okay, Mike McCarthy is who I trust more. Mike McCarthy has won a Super Bowl. He
It's
did
a
it
long time ago, man.
very long time ago. He did it with a quarterback who's insanely special. And so I'm going to qualify it in that way because Aaron Rodgers, I mean, talents like him, they can make virtually anybody look good.
Same argument back in your face. He only won 1 Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
Also true. Also
Like,
very
how,
true.
with that Packers team, they were stacked, man. That should have been a 2-3 Super Bowl winning team.
But even Aaron Rodgers himself would say to you, well, they didn't surround him with enough talent. And so if you're starting quarterback saying that for years, and then Mike McCarthy is your head coach, I mean, obviously he can't be as vocal about those issues as a quarterback because you're more expendable as a head coach, especially when you're in a situation with a future Hall of Fame quarterback. So I think he sort of bit his tongue for a long time about how the front office was handling things. And I'm sure if it were up to him and it's working out in reality in Dallas, they would have added to that offense a lot more than they did to that defense. He's now spoiled with weapons offensively for his quarterback. The problem is his quarterback. I just don't think Dak is as consistent. Brandon Staley on the other side of this argument, I just don't see it. I don't think he's going to be a head coach for very much longer.
Rich,
Yeah.
you remember when Mike McCarthy was out of the league, and it was right after he got fired from the Packers, and he took the year off, and he said, oh, I've been down in the garage. I've been in the lab working up my offense. It's going to be like something we've never seen before. This Dallas offense is boring to me. Like, it really is boring. You have special talent there. I think Tony Pollard's a special talent. I think CeeDee Lamb is beyond special. I think Brandon Cooks is special. Everywhere he's been, he's worked. It's not a special offense. In fact, it's a pretty boring offense, if you ask me. Did you say why?
Yeah.
Because they can't trust Dak to do anything more. But I'm saying Mike McCarthy is so special, and this game plan he came up with was so special, then it should have looked like what Kyle Shanahan does with below talent at quarterback.
So are you trusting Brandon Staley more?
That's a really hard question. That's a really hard question.
But
I don't.
that's the
Yeah.
listen, I know
No.
you could say whatever you want about Mike McCarthy. The question's a question. Who do you trust more, Staley or McCarthy?
McCarthy for me. Look,
Yeah.
McCarthy at least does have a proven track record. I do think McCarthy is actual coach material. Now, is he solid head coach anymore? Yeah, probably not. I mean, it seems a little weak on his end now. Brandon Staley to me really feels like a fake it till you make it kind of guy. Like it was kind of like he got the job and he was like, oh my God, that worked. And then now he's just trying to figure it out. But you're just not a head coach, man. This is not your forte. You should probably look at, I don't know, maybe ticket sales.
What do you think about the beard?
The beard that Staley's sporting
Yeah.
these days. You know what's weird is I feel like it's intentional, and that for that reason I do not like it.
Like soon he's gonna have a monocle. Like,
Yeah,
it's because I'm so smart.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where I feel like it was a public relations change. Like I feel like somebody got in his ear and said, "You look too young. Like you need to add a beard so people stop talking about your inexperience." Like that's the reason why I'm saying it seems intentional. Like it wasn't just because, man, I'm just too lazy to shave. I've just been grinding the film, man. No, I feel like somebody said, you look like a boy. You need to look more like a man if you're going to be a head coach.
Yeah, boy. Boy.
Who do you trust more? The Cowboys defense or the Chargers defense?
Cowboys.
Okay.
Because I talked about it in the first hour today, and I went and looked it up. Derwin James has 3 separate unnecessary roughnesses this season. He has 1 roughing the passer, and there's 1 other penalty. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't as egregious. But 2 of the 4 of them came on 3rd down. That's just giving the other team first down yardage. And I think that there's a little lack of, what's the right word? A little lack of awareness when it comes to this Chargers defense, where they do make stupid penalties frequently. The Cowboys, Micah Parsons, dude's a freak.
Yeah.
If he's the only one I'm looking at, I trust the Cowboys defense more.
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I'm at. You put that name up on top, and then I don't know, it doesn't hardly matter after that. I mean, he's an absolute beast out there, causing all kinds of problems, and consistently. I mean, that's when you look and go, where does the trust fall? Consistency.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think Micah Parsons is a transcendent talent. I mean, think about the Dallas Cowboys getting that win. The Chargers, they can score points. Micah Parsons was moved off ball to fill in for Leighton Vander Esch, who has the neck injury. he was supposed to play all edge this year, right? That was the big offseason announcement that number 11 Micah Parsons was going to be an edge rusher. That's how he was going to be used this season.
Even when they had Van Der Esch, though, that wasn't what they were doing. They were moving him around.
Oh no, well, but specifically he was going to be a rusher. He wasn't going to play off-ball linebacker position this season. But then Van Der Esch gets hurt, and that's exactly what they do with him. They say, okay, listen, Micah, we need your help. And Gus Bradley's defense, they've been for the past 2 games playing him off ball. And as a result of having a player as versatile as he is, I mean, think about that. That's a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker that he is able to adjust what he's doing and still have an insane amount of success. And people were saying, well, he's had a quiet night. You were listening to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman talk about it last night. Well, the reason is because he's not playing at the line of scrimmage. He's not playing at the point of attack as much.
Before we get to halftime here, we do have a couple pissed off Charger fans on the text line, and we do appreciate it. 70470, start your message with team. But this from the 858, Chargers first round pick Quentin Johnston is an absolute bust.
So far, it has not translated to the NFL level. This happens all the time, but he looked amazing at TCU, working with Max Duggan. And then so far this season, especially with the absence of Mike Williams, they were really hoping that Johnston could help them in the deep part of the field, and it just hasn't happened at all.
Rich, I think you called it. You said when Mike Williams went out, look at Josh Palmer.
Yep,
and he was really good last night. Joe Buck called him an absolute vacuum on the field, and that's what he was.
Yep, he can be trusted.
The 913, Jeremy, calling the really over the top Charger fan an actress.
She was an actress.
Fake
I'm pretty convinced. 858, Herbert authored up the biggest playoff meltdown in NFL history last year. Now that's in reaction to us saying, who do we trust more, Dak or Herbert? And I would say Dak's also authored up a few pretty bad meltdowns.
A lot of them.
Yeah, he's got a longer track record of screwing things up. Although I will say that was one of the most egregious playoff losses we've ever seen.
Coaching or Herbert? I chalk that one more up to coaching because remember who got them that lead.
And also, your defense gave up all those points in the second half.
Yeah. With a defensive head coach.
By a defensive head coach. It was terrible. That was an awful, awful appearance in the postseason. But again, more coaching than quarterback, in my opinion, has been the Chargers' issues over the years. Okay, halftime in a second. Want to do this, though. You are 5 minutes away from getting SeaWorld tickets, a family 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld for Halloween.
You're so smart.
So just stick around. We're going to do a quick halftime, and then we're going to give you some SeaWorld tickets in just about 5 minutes. But here's this.
Well, in the NLCS last night, the Phillies beat the Diamondbacks 5-3. Travis Kelce and his brother Jason were at the game. No Taylor Swift, so lame, super lame. Yeah, so it's confirmed Travis and his brother Jason dating. Yep.
I do find it funny that there's Kelsey Swift, obviously Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and then there's a Kelsey Swift, Jason Kelce, and DeAndre Swift, the Eagles running back.
You know what's so crazy?
Whoa.
Yeah, the fact that like Travis Kelce, I had no idea how much he traveled during the regular season.
Yeah, I thought the same
He's
thing.
in New York for the Saturday night. Did you ever travel this much when you were playing?
No. This guy doesn't have to go to practice?
That's what I'm saying.
I think he linked up with Taylor Swift so he could hop on a private jet to Philly, to New York. He's all over the place.
And nobody says anything. Andy Reid's not like, hey, anybody seen Travis?
Andy Reid's busy cutting State Farm commercials with Patty Mahomes.
Mahomes and Auto.
Yeah.
Oh man. Diamondbacks, by the way, I don't know if we talked about this, swept the Dodgers in the division series.
Can confirm.
Yeah, in the ALCS, the Rangers took down the Astros 5-4. Rangers now up 2-0 in the series. And huge announcement yesterday. Huge announcement. I mean, buckle up, folks, for Thanksgiving. The halftime show for the Cowboys Commanders Thanksgiving. Dolly Parton.
Yeah! Woo! Come on!
Yeah. It is going to be a rip-roaring game.
I love me some Dolly.
She's 76 years old.
Would.
Yeah, would.
Damn it. And that is confirmed.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Oh, hey
yeah.
now.
Yeah. Listen, it is a Tuesday. You know what that means? We're spanning the map. We're bringing you the best stories from the four corners of this world. We're going to do that, and we're going to start it. But interspliced here will be an opportunity to win a family 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld. SeaWorld San Diego is doing Hollow Scream on select dates all the way from now until Halloween. So get out there to SeaWorld or just wait for your opportunity to win those tickets. Where should we start, boys?
Well, Four Corners is my favorite segment of the week because we always look at TV and be like, what the hell are you doing on the internet?
Yeah.
So the number one thing he put down there, and I'm just going to read the headline. I have not clicked on this one. TV, I want you to take it from here.
Yeah.
And masculine marketing turn more men into vegans. I asked, TV, what the hell are you doing on the internet?
So apparently, in the world of vegans, there's not a lot of traction there of people going vegan. And now they're also saying that if you go vegan, it not only helps the planet, but it's good for you. And so they're like, wow, how come we can't get people to buy into this? They want beef. It's what's for dinner, but they don't want vegan. It'll make you live longer. So they thought, you know what? Our marketing is not masculine enough. So they're going to go, you look for this now in football games in the NFL. You are going to see just rough and tough dudes eating vegetables.
Jeez. It's like the old cowboy catheter.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you say a cowboy catheter?
You don't remember this?
No, I don't.
It was like this at-home catheter that they were selling for a while. They had just this rough and tumble cowboy advertising. I've been cathing every day for 5 years.
Dude,
While he's smoking a cigarette.
I put my urinary bag in a thigh holster.
Yes. Look, I can tell you right now, it's not because of the marketing that more men aren't going vegan. It's because
meat's awesome.
Vegan sucks.
Yeah, I don't get it. I never will. I love vegetables, but you know what I love more than vegetables? Eating animals.
Correct.
Always have, always will.
Correct.
Moving on, Phil Perry, who actually appears on this show many times, friend of the program, who works for NBC Sports out in Boston, said that he spoke to a Raiders staffer about what's going on in New England right now. So a lot of the Raiders staffers used to be in New England with their general manager and their head coach, Josh McDaniels, obviously. Anyways, what he found out was it's a very different locker room right now. So apparently from this former Patriot staffer, everyone used to know what the standard was and how to meet it. Everyone just used to know how to act. It wasn't something that anybody had to go out of their way to tell us, whether it was personnel people, coaches, or players. Everyone understood what it took to win. And now there aren't many of those guys left anymore, namely Tom Brady. Common denominator, obviously great leader, and there's a bit of a vacuum in New England right now.
Yeah, but I mean, we talked about it. You know, there's been a shift out there, and the feeling's different. So it kind of confirms that. What you got, man?
One of my favorite guests that we have on this show is Dieter Kurtenbach. He works up in the Bay Area. He covers the A's, the Warriors, the Niners, the Giants, all those teams. But the A's are one team that he can't stand covering. It's because of the owner, John Fisher. Well, Trevor May, who's been on the A's for a while now, retired from the team. And he had some quotes for John Fisher, who's the owner of the A's. This is what he said. To the A's organization, every single person that's a part of it, I love you all. Every single one of you except for one guy. And we all know who that guy is. Sell the team, dude. Sell it, man. Let someone who actually takes pride in the game or the things they own something. There's actually people who give an S about the game. Let them do it. Take mommy and daddy's money elsewhere, you dork.
You dork. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone agrees with him except for the owner of the A's. Everyone is saying, no, it's never selling. It never sells.
It's like Dean Spanos is never going to sell the Chargers unless he's forced to.
Right.
Also a dork.
When was the last time you got a speeding ticket?
Never.
What?
Knock on wood.
I've gotten one. I want to say it's year. Yeah, it is years. It was probably before the pandemic.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been before the pandemic as well. Knock on wood for me. But a Georgia man got a speeding ticket. He was going 90 in a 55. He got the ticket in the mail. And when he saw it, it said, you owe us $1.48 million.
What?
Okay.
How is that possible?
Here's the thing. So the fine, the maximum fine is $1,000.
Yeah.
However, there were other things tacked onto it, which made it around $1,500 is what he's going to have to pay for going 45 miles per hour over the speed limit. However, in Georgia, in the city, which I don't know the name,
Casper.
when it's Casper, Wyoming, Georgia. When the computer generates the fine and the ticket, it automatically puts a placeholder number of 999,999. And then it added the $1,500 to it, or whatever it came out to be. Yeah, so it came to this insane number. And so he called and they said, well, you don't owe it unless you don't show up in court. And then you'll have to pay us $1.5 million.
I'm completely talking out of my ass here, but I did see a video on this that there is a country, and I can't remember where it is. It's in Europe, but it's the fines that you get for traffic violations are based on your income.
Interesting.
So it's like someone could get a speeding ticket who makes like as much as I do, and you'd have to pay like whatever like a normal one is. But then if someone like who makes big money was to get a speeding ticket, it would be a percentage of the income instead of. So, dude, it like fines can get tricky.
I don't love that idea.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Well, I'm all right with it because I don't make any money. But
But that. Okay, hold on,
still,
though.
but
That is not a level playing field. That is not a level.
If Elon Musk gets a ticket, he should have to pay more than me. I'm pissing people off.
Okay, I was gonna say. Okay, this is like the tax thing.
Wait,
like if everyone just paid 10%.
I also don't actually believe it. But
I got you.
This is the reason why that guy's trying to leave the planet. I think. Hey, really quick, did you know? Oh, and 844-570-1360, 844-570-1360. If you want to win SeaWorld San Diego tickets, dial that number right now. Caller number 5. We're sending you and your family to SeaWorld San Diego to celebrate Hallow Scream on select dates from now until Halloween. Okay. Psychologists reveal how you butter your toast can say a lot about your personality.
You know
is
what
that innuendo?
What I love, you're right. Correct. What I love about these stories is that some psychologists took the time to be like, oh, look at how these psychopaths butter their bread. Then I'll really know about them. So, yeah, I mean, here are the categories. The glider, which these all can be innuendos. Total coverage. The clumper. Do you want toast with your spread? The crust avoider, the double cider, tear and spread, curler, and the barely there.
I think I'm a clumper.
So gliders are the most common, and they tend to be easygoing and calm in nature.
That's not me.
Total coverage people. Some research have showed that these people are insane. No, I can't find what it said. No.
It said they were. I know this is a very long. Total coverage are people who are very methodical.
Interesting. What about the clumper? Are you a clumper, Fletch? Is that what you said?
Yeah, he said he's a clumper. They're sporadic in nature and think outside the box.
Accurate.
Yeah. If you're a do you want toast with your spread?
Now that's me.
Yeah, that's me as well. Open-minded, always up for a good time. Psychologist nailed it.
Absolutely nailed it.
God.
Now, how much butter are you eating these days?
Well, I am not eating that much butter, and I got to tell you, I do miss butter. I do miss toast. In fact, I think toast, in my personal opinion, is like a top food for me.
It's like, I
mean, toast is pretty solid.
Toast might be the GOAT.
We're on it, as Fletch is taking a winner, giving us hand signals like, stop talking about toast, fatty. You've been on a diet. And I have been on a diet. In fact, my wife and I were just talking about it last night, about just how much better we feel since we started with sdfatloss.com. We used to have these random aches and pains. I had terrible sleep patterns. We would wake up tired even after sleeping a full night. I felt stuck. I was overweight. I needed help. And that's where sdfatloss.com came in. The staff and the coaches over at sdfatloss.com showed me the correct way to lose weight and how I'm supposed to eat. I mean, what works best to drop pounds fast, and then what you need to do to keep that weight off. So it's having someone there guiding me along the process that has been absolutely monumental in this thing. I've lost 27 pounds in just over a month. Rich at 35, Fletch over 30 now, and the pounds still dropping. It's incredible. No exercise required, which is great for me because I got to tell you, I'm not great at exercising, no counting points or calories, no drugs, no injections. And look, I've tried all of those and they haven't worked, or they've worked momentarily and then I've gained back and more. Not with sdfatloss.com. You need to go there right now. Schedule your free consultation. You got nothing to lose because it's free except unwanted pounds. So get yourself feeling better like me. You'll thank yourself for it. SDFatLoss.com, SDFatLoss.com. Coming up, we got to check in with some of these injuries happening all around the NFL. Dr. David Chow joins us next. Dr. David Chow joins us next. We're going to talk about these NFL injuries. Coming up.
This update is presented by Staples Stores. Monday Night Football, Chargers lose to the Cowboys last night at SoFi 20-17. Chargers did have a last-minute drive to try and win the game or tie the game, but Justin Herbert would throw an interception with 57 seconds on the clock. That would ice the game for the Cowboys. And that puts Week 6 in the books of the NFL season. Lots of injuries, though, in Week 6, man. We will catch up with Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chow, coming up next. In the MLB postseason, Rangers take a 2-0 series lead over the Astros. 5-4 win yesterday in the ALCS. Phillies go up 1-0 on the D-backs as Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, and Nick Castellanos all hit home runs in Game 1. At Staples, you can count on every print project being perfect. Right now, get $100 off your print purchase of $250 or more. Offer ends 11/4. See staples.com/print for details. Make sure your small business print and marketing materials stand out with perfect prints, guaranteed at Staples.
Big Rashid in Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. And there's been a lot of injuries all around the NFL this season.
You're not kidding.
I mean, they are stacking up. I will not be surprised to hear if Brock Purdy and that elbow flames up. What?
We're dealing with enough, man.
Well, hang on. I'm just saying, maybe it's his pride that's hurt the most of all.
Definitely mine.
Well, yeah. Fletch is struggling. Actually, that's actually something we should address here with Dr. David Chow, Pro Football Doc on X. You can also go to SICScore.com. That's SICScore.com for all of your injury updates. If you're a bettor, a fantasy football owner, or if you're just interested in the timeline for injured players that you're interested in. Doc David Chow joining us on this Tuesday morning, as you will every single Tuesday. So, Doc, Ben, he's experiencing, I don't know, I guess a Niners hangover that has now lasted 48 hours. What advice from a mental health capacity can you offer to our poor voice on the show, Fletch?
Fletch, it's more important to win the last game of the season than to be undefeated. So it's okay. Get it out of the way. Knock the pressure off of all this undefeated. Look, heavy is the crown. If you get late into the season undefeated, the talk starts to be about an undefeated season and not the Super Bowl. Learn from the Patriots that were undefeated going into the Giants Super Bowl helmet catch, the whole deal, and they were undefeated. So it's okay. It's winning the last game of the season, not every game of the season.
Doc, that is sage wisdom, very wise, and you're right. And yesterday on the show, I said it's not the loss that's hurting so bad. It's the loss of Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, potentially Trent Williams. Also, Deebo and Trent listed as day-to-day. Christian McCaffrey, we don't know. We don't know.
It's a waiting game.
So I don't know if you can make me feel better about those three guys, but without those three guys, the Niners season's toast. With those three guys, they still got a pretty good shot. What is your reaction to what you saw from them?
Well, here's the good news for you. Maybe this will be the other medicine for you, which is none of those three guys are season ending or long term. Does that mean they're going to be 100% this next week? Not necessarily. Deebo isn't significant. CMC is managing the oblique. I get a lot of humor out of people saying that Greg Olsen hurt him with the pregame hug. I mean,
that's a hell of a hug, Doc.
He's very strong, Doc.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very passionate hug. I will give you that. I mean, but I mean, come on. I mean, but I don't think he's long-term. But the biggest injury is actually the guy who kept playing, Trent Williams. That was look, Mike Shanahan said it is not a high ankle. I'm telling you by video, it is a high ankle. And it's similar to before. I haven't examined him. I don't know. But remember when the Giants said Saquon Barkley, ordinary ankle sprain? I was like, no, that's a high ankle sprain. And he missed 3 weeks, right? I'm not saying Trent Williams is going to miss 3 weeks. Trent Williams always tries to play through. But watch the film. I'm sure you did, Rich. You look at the O-lineman. He was not Trent Williams the rest of the game. And I think that's the biggest injury they have. It's not CMC or Deebo, it's Trent Williams. Because then what happens? You end up changing the offense, and Kittle ends up over there chipping all the time, right? So you're losing then Kittle as well, basically from the offensive repertoire. So I think that's the biggest one.
Doc, I know you said not 100% next week, but is there a chance that these guys don't play?
Well, there's certainly a chance that they don't play. I don't see for Trent Williams. I mean, he already finished his game. I think he's a wild horses have to drag him off the field kind of guy, right? But I don't see there's any way that he can be 100%. Debo is possible. CMC is still possible. It's a rib oblique, and if it's off the insertion, those sometimes can get rib blocks and so forth. I get it. Nowadays, not every player wants to or chooses to do that, and that's their prerogative. But none of them, I believe, are IR, even 4-week IR worthy. So at least, that's the good news there.
There's a lot of fantasy football owners who are concerned about their running back roster depth. And we're talking with Dr. David Chow, as we do every single Tuesday during the NFL season. Pro Football Doc on X. You can find him at SIC Score. That's Sports Injury Central Score.com for all of your injury updates. So Saquon Barkley, obviously back in action this weekend. Austin Eckler, we saw him yesterday during the Chargers loss on Monday Night Football. Both of them looked still very wobbly on those ankle sprains. Okay, so getting back to the field is one thing. But what about getting back to full health where you can trust them and start them in your fantasy football league? Because both of them were underwhelming.
Look, if you have Saquon and Eckler on your fantasy team, you kind of have to start them, right? Unless you have an embarrassment of riches, right? I mean, maybe in DFS that you don't. I actually think Eckler was pretty healthy last night. And think about this. The biggest factor, I think, last night was, honestly, Justin Herbert's finger. I get it. He played fine in his non-throwing hand. But here's where I think it was a factor. I said he's going to be in complete shotgun the whole game. First of all, there were many pictures when he got hit and fell down. He was holding his head out like this, protecting it as he fell down, as opposed to trying to brace himself on the left side. But what does that do? It changes your offense. You're in shotgun the whole time. The Chargers tried the okie doke. He's under center for the first snap of the game. And I was like, what? He's not. No, he went straight back to shotgun the whole rest of the game. And running the ball potentially is different out of shotgun, especially against a defensive front seven of Dallas that's pretty good, even without Leighton Vander Esch. And I think also it changed the game a little bit because there were a couple of 4th and 1s where you couldn't line up Justin Herbert under center, even think about tush push or other things. And it changes the flow of the game a little bit. I think Eckler's actually okay in terms of his health. At least that's good news. But I've got a question for you, Rich, and you guys.
Yeah.
The lady that they kept showing on the broadcast. Okay. First of all, real or fake?
Fake.
I could see it being real, but man, that felt like a plant.
You know what I started calling her? I said, I don't know who this person is. Maybe she's the Asian Taylor Swift. I think she got shown more than Taylor Swift at the games.
Actually, yeah, she was on. That's a good point. She was on screen like probably 6 or 8 times. I lost count.
And for long periods of time.
Yeah,
they kept the camera on her. What
here's my question too. I mean, was ESPN in on it? Did they know if it was a plant? And the other thing is, does she not have any friends?
Well, the shots were, what, Fletch
Doc,
was the one who pointed that out.
And Doc, I don't want to get you in trouble here, but you worked for this organization. Would it surprise you at all?
That wasn't my side of the organization, and the people I don't know.
Doc, your answer was as fake as she was.
I was never involved in any schemes like that. Now, I will admit that there might have been a time where I've been on the field and the player says I'm good to go, and we're like, well, let's just take another minute on the field here because the defense needs a blow or something. And there might have been a time or two that I might have, I guess I could tell the story. Who cares? I mean,
yeah.
Okay. We were in Denver. I mean, I got booed by a whole crowd in Denver because Nick comes off to the sideline and neck issue, elbow issue. And I meet him at the numbers because Philip is saying, go down. And Nick's looking at him like, yeah, that's not happening.
To be clear, Doc,
I could walk off with an elbow. And
Doc, you talking about Nick Hardwick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick Hardwick, his elbow. This is all on TV, so it's not HIPAA, and Nick wouldn't care anyways. But Nick gives Philip a look like, I'm not going down for an elbow. Come on, And Philip's like bringing in, let's take some snaps for the backup, kind of thing, buy some time. So I meet, totally legal, because what do I know? How do I know it's an elbow? I meet Nick at the 30 of the numbers, right? And I start examining him. Phillips taking snaps on the sideline, on the side there with the center. The crowd's booing. The referee comes over and says, get him off the field. And as a good doctor, what do you do first? The most important thing. He's complaining of pain in his arm. Is it coming from his neck? So I start examining his neck. That's the right thing to do, right? I'm just being a good doctor. And the referee looks at me and says, oh, okay. Right? It gives me 10 seconds to scroll. So, I mean, are there shenanigans that happen? Come on, Rich. There are. But I was never involved in anything on that marketing side. So I have no clue what it was. Let me tell you something. All I know is at the Padre games, let's say, when someone gets on the Jumbotron, and it's only for 2 or 3 seconds, everyone starts sticking their head in. By the 7th time that she was shown, no one else in the suite wanted to get on TV.
It was a little weird. Yeah, it was a little weird, Doc. Listen, I'll tell you what. He's not only a great ortho doc, but he's a doctor of diplomacy.
That's right.
Also
Rich, that was, what I do is injury analysis on video, right? Video analysis. So that was video analysis of the lady,
Yeah. And judging by her reaction, she's going to need a doctor because she has a broken heart from that loss.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I don't know if she'll ever recover until the check comes in the mail. Dr. David Chow, we appreciate your time as we do every single Tuesday. We'll catch up with you in a week, brother.
All right. Thanks, bud.
There it goes. Doc David Chow, Pro Football Doc on X. You could also go to sicscore.com, a great resource for injury news around the NFL. Okay, and other sports as well, Major League playoffs.
By the way, guys, very proud of us. We got through a whole Doc Chow interview without mentioning Aaron Rodgers once.
We did.
High fives all around.
Wow.
Boom, boom.
You know what's weird? It's like, kind of forgot about him.
Well, what's crazy is like the Achilles tear that he's recovering from. I'll tell you what, I'm not completely unconvinced that it couldn't have been avoided if he was wearing arch supports from the Good Feet store. And here's why. Look, the Good Feet store, it's not just about your feet and your ankles. It's also about your knee. It's also about your hips. It's about your lower back. And Doc Chow was just talking about neck injuries. I've heard this from people who use these Good Feet store arch supports, that you can actually feel pain relief in your neck from improvements in your posture when you're walking or standing. So if you are struggling with any of these issues, go to the Good Feet store. There's 200 plus locations around the U.S. and overseas. You could go to goodfeet.com right now to find the location nearest you, or you could book your appointment online at goodfeet.com. But for me, it was very simple. I started wearing these arch supports, and a week later, the pain really started melting away. It's to the point now where if I go to SeaWorld, if I go golfing with the guys, if I'm walking around, like, for example, I was just in Hawaii this weekend. I walked up a damn mountain. I went up to the top of Diamond Head. It's like round trip. It was a 6-mile walk, and at 1,000 feet elevation, I felt great the next day. That's not something I could actually say before I started wearing these arch supports. So if you're like me, you struggle with joint pain, and you want to get through it to the other side, go to the Good Feet store today. All right, coming up next, a couple leftover stories from four corners that just could not be denied, and we'll bring them to you next on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch here. The Olympics is making news, and we'll wrap up with a look ahead at week 6 in the NFL. Week 7? Are we up to week 7? Yeah, never mind. Week 7 in the NFL. Professional tees. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Again, reminder, if you love this show, the best way you can show your support is downloading the free iHeartRadio app. Share a link with a friend. We'd appreciate it. We appreciate everybody who tunes in and listens to this insane show every day.
The amount of eye contact TD is making with me right now is not cool.
Yeah.
Listen, I like Sultans of Swing.
I
He
know you do.
really does.
And if you like listening to this show, tomorrow we're going to reward you a little bit. Not only will we have the SeaWorld tickets again tomorrow, we also have Aztecs football tickets for this Saturday, starting tomorrow, running through Friday.
How about that? Send you out to the Snap, to the Dragon, to the Snapdragon.
It's like tomorrow's What's in the Box, and I was like, hey, the bell's in the box right now. I forgot about the bell. I hid it in the box because I didn't want some other show after us to steal our bell.
Well, what we're finding is there are times where if we leave things on the console here, either A, there's complaining and belly aching the shape we leave the studio in, or B, they're destroyed. I can't tell you how many times we've walked in here, and we actually, at one point, Travis had made what do you call them? Coasters.
Yeah.
With our logo, our show logo.
I have like, I guess about 1,000 of them now stacked up at home. As every time they go on sale, I keep ordering them.
Dude, you realize Caleb gets it from you.
No. I mean, this is like, because my thought is like, oh, okay, so when we have a party,
yeah,
we're gonna have these coasters.
But I don't know if it's John and Jim. I don't know if it's the D Smith show.
Yeah.
But some of these MFers are walking in here and just tearing up our coasters. And I know it's one of them.
I'm guessing Jim.
It could be Jim.
Yeah,
I mean, Jim is a known jerk.
We can't put out nice stuff anymore.
Oh, no, we can't.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it seems to be a team effort because it doesn't matter what side of the console that they're on.
That's true too.
They get destroyed.
TD, would you call the bell like a nice stuff?
Oh yeah, the bell is nice. I mean it.
Wait a second.
It is so nice.
Just think about the way you just said that.
No, I know, but
would you think of the bell as in a nice stuff?
Because he said we can't put out nice stuff anymore, and so would the bell qualify as nice stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
He got that sucker on discount too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
I don't know how.
That was smoking hot deal.
$4 I paid for
Next
that.
time you talk mess to Caleb about the fact that he has $5,000 worth of baseball cards still, he should just turn to you and say, TD, I get it from you.
Yeah. I learned it by watching you.
Yeah, you were complaining about like a GI Joe you never got yesterday.
It's true. I did not get that refrigerator, G.I. Joe. However, apparently you're not supposed to put cash and coins in an envelope when you send away for your free G.I.
A
Joe.
little bit of a misstep there.
Yeah.
I can see that being.
When you come over to my house and look at my garage, you'll be like, what in the hell do you spend your money on?
I
Just a
cannot.
nerd explosion.
Yeah, it really is. It really
A
is.
nerdgasm.
Do you
In
want to
fact,
see
That should be the name of your podcast.
Nerdgasm?
Nerdgasm with your host, Travis Dale.
You know what's wild?
Ah!
I promise you that podcast already exists.
What?
Just
Oh, I
not with
hope.
Travis Dale.
Hey, are you into cricket or flag football?
Hell yeah, brother.
Both.
Well, they're going to be an Olympic sport now.
Oh, you meant the sport. Oh, okay. I
Oh.
thought cricket. I thought you meant the insect.
Until beer pong's an Olympic sport,
I thought you
I'm
meant-
boycotting the Olympics.
I thought you meant, that little cutting device for crafts.
Wireless.
The cricket.
Isn't it a wireless company? Anyways, who do we thank today, Ben?
We thank Dr. David Chow. He joins us every single Tuesday at 8:30 o'clock. We thank Rich Ornberger, Travis Dale, Colin Cowherd, who will have Rich Ornberger on.
Be on later at the herd. Thank you for listening to this crazy show. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning, starting at 6.